Welcome back, guys. My name is Harrison, and we are back for another match of the ESOC Premier League 2, hosted on ESOC Community. This is week number 1. We're having Conqueror999 versus India Bots. This is a matchup between the SKG of India Bot / Miko versus the Bigs of Conqueror. The first game is going to be a French mirror. We see Miko spawn into the top right. We also see Conqueror spawn into the south west of the map. This is a French mirror. Coin crate start for both players, and it looks like Conqueror is dropping down an early market, and same for Miko as well. Both explorers have moved to the kind of north side of their map respectively, and it looks like Conqueror has already come across a 90 wood treasure, so he's crack shotted one of the lines, and is now working his way on the second by kiting it. Miko has gone to the north, but he's only seen 75 wood. He has seen the 85 wood treasure though, so I wonder where he's walking to and what he wants to do for the time being. Yeah, he has scouted it. You can tell on the top side, this is where the wood treasure is, so it's curious what Miko's doing. Maybe he wants this 55 coin treasure because he went for that market start, and that extra coin should be able to help IndiaBot buy some wood, but that'll be enough wood for a house, but not even close for hunting dogs. Or has he already got hunting dogs in queue? He's already got hunting dogs completed, so a very nice early age 1 macro there for Miko. Conqueror himself is working on a 65 coin treasure. He's already taken one shot out onto the line tail macaques. These are very weak treasure guidance, only 60 HP. And I feel that at this point, you know that in this map there's quite a lot of large wood treasures spawn, and we do see that he's already picked up that 90 wood. There's at least another 1 wood which very regularly spawns, and going for a 65 coin treasure, be interesting. But we do see a treasure contention though. IndiaBot is on top of it, and Conqueror's trying to get next to the treasure so he can turn and pick it up. He's having to engage now, and he's going to click it down first. He does get it, so Conqueror999 does pick up the 65 coin treasure there, so I'm sure he'll be very happy with that start. Oh wow, look at these yaks from Conqueror. He's only got 7 yaks. I know that Miko moved to the north side of his map to get some yaks early on, but Conqueror's really good early scouting pattern with his native scouts in particular. His explorer went to the north side on treasure gathering duties, but this native scout has really put in the work, and in a mirror to be ahead of your opponent 7 yaks to 4 yaks. I think Conqueror will be mighty pleased with his start, especially because he got the 90 wood treasure as well. Now the IndiaBot is basically got his hunting dogs, got his early macro, and now transitioned to Age 2. I think Miko's now thinking he can now start to work on his 85 wood treasure. Crack shots one the tiger, starts creeping the other, and he should be able to pick up this 85 wood treasure by the time he gets 115 wood in bank, and that way he can drop down an early trading post in transition into the second age, as well as probably work on a few market techs as well. So it looks like he's going to continue gathering the wood, and that should be enough wood now to get the placer mines going, as well as the trading post. This is unlucky for Miko. His hunt was a little bit closer to start off the game, but he's already walked off to the north and out of his line of sight, and he sees that the only other hunt nearby is right side. He's starting to herd it, but the map has been fine for both players, and it's a similar story for Conqueror. Look at this hunt. That started about here and just wandered off to the left-hand side. So, similar starts for both players. But look at this. Rain du Chapelan, 37 HP and going down fast. This scout may pick off the Explorer. Pull trick coming in from the native Explorer of Conqueror. Can he pull this away? But native scout here, got to remember, 5.5 speed. This Explorer's going nowhere. 7 HP, 2 HP, 1 more hit coming in. Can he do it? Oh, gets punched down by the Explorer. But that should be revived due to the age up, and I think the Conqueror should have left his Explorer nearby the trading post, because he now has to walk all the way back up to his trading post. Oh, he did actually construct it, so in the end it wasn't too impactful. Right, we are into the second age, and let's see what both players have going up with, see what's going on. We do see both players shipping 3 CDBs in exact same time, 2 minutes 21 for both players. in base barracks for India bot. Also a house as well, so looks like Miko is thinking about going for a Musketeer semi-FF possibly. We'll have to see what comes on from his first crate, from his first shipments, whether it's going to be the coin crates or, well, the 4 CDB come in first as standard. We're going to see what comes on afterwards. Conqueror999 is also gone for the 4 CDB first, but has opened up with a stable instead. So a little difference between these two players. Conqueror going for the stable, India bot opening up the barracks, and we see a dog from India bot. I was wondering why we still have these extra vills on the trees, gathering extra bits of wood, and that's now being scouted by Conqueror. He should see this wood income from Miko and be thinking, what's going on? Have you not got your market text yet? Have you not got a military building down? He will see the Musketeers, and Musketeers, if you open up Musketeers, it does usually indicate some sort of defensive-minded play, because obviously Musketeers, shall I say, move a lot slower than cavalry. We see that the cavalry being trained from Conquerors out in the field and pushing across the map. So these Hussars are using their speed and mobility to move into Miko's base and try and pick up some raiding, and a few hunts to the north side of his base. Could be a little bit closer, but so far not too bad. But only 5 Musketeers nearby. That might not be enough to deal with the 5 Hussars. India bot may need some Minutemen. He has resources available, but decides not to, and Conqueror's going to back away because he knows that there's infantry on the floor for Miko already. 4 vills, 700 wood coming in for both players, and Miko is using that wood to kind of start increasing his boat production, and he's still got another 2 boats in queue, 1 CDB in queue from the town centre as well. Raid coming back in from Conqueror, but he's going back in through the front door of the base, and that's where the Musketeers are kind of waiting for him. There you go, another batch of 4 Hussars are making their way, and I think that's what Conqueror is waiting for, was a second batch of Hussars, so that way he can really smash into his opponent's town centre and hopefully get a bit of raiding done, pick up a few vills, certainly idle a lot of the French eco, and it's going to be a 2-pronged raid. 5 Hussars from the north, 4 Hussars to the south, and the 4 Hussars picked off the Explorer, raid coming topside, but Musketeers are still here trying to dissuade. No other infantry units and cavalry units from Miko being trained, so these 5 Musketeers will have to work overtime to push away all this cavalry, and I think Conqueror could really be pressing his military advantage a little bit. It's 18 pop to 5, and it's only 5 Musketeers. He doesn't know what units Miko's training. He does have the stable and barracks nearby, and these guys, this player could be producing more units. He's starting to get Musketeers now, but currently we see Miko actually aging. Conqueror's unaware that he's aging. Maybe he's happy to sit back and age himself and keep his 9 Hussars protected, but you know, these Hussars have quite a low amount of line of sight. This dock has not been scouted yet, so I think Conqueror would be a little bit surprised at the end of the game if he finds out whether he wins or loses that Miko was on the water. 5 Hussars trying to poke in onto the top side as well, but now that India bot is to the 3rd age, we do see a skirmisher and a dragoon in queue. I'm sure India bot will be focusing on the dragoons. There you go, 4 in queue, and once those dragoons pop out, these Hussars should be scared off quite easily, and they're going to return back to their base. I'll have a quick look at Miko's deck in particular. We do see caravels, improved warships and frigates, and in a French mirror, why would you usually send these cards? It's not like the French player usually goes onto the water, but in Miko's case, it is. See, Conqueror, he's got Swiss pikes instead of a frigate, so no water cards for Conqueror, but India bot's got the caravels and the frigates. And if anything, the 2 caravels is a bit of an interesting shipment in this game, because you wouldn't usually expect any water aggression in H2. Who would I predict to win this match between Conqueror and India bot? I know that India bot's been playing quite a lot recently. He's well practiced. I've seen him recently, and he's won a few games versus Kaiser, relatively even series. So I think India bot is well practiced. Conqueror is a little bit more unknown of an entity, so it does depend on how much he's been playing. Whether this is going to be a close series, a win for Miko, win for Conqueror. Who knows? We have to find out. And at the moment, it's even Stevens between both players. Scores are relatively equal. I think Miko's economy is starting to take off now. And he's starting to push out into the water. Hussars nearby. The Hussars... I don't even know if the Hussars have seen the dock yet. They got so low HP. And the way these Hussars are path into the north, without even stopping to have a look at the dock, I'm not too sure if Conqueror knows. We may guess if he wants to really try to push his military advantage now, if he sees Miko has on the water on the dock, going for more of a slower style. Lots of skirmishers onto the north side, starting to press into Miko's base, fending these CDBs back. But these CDBs do have their greatcoats, so very tanky vills against range resist. Minimalt just subscribing. Well, I'm waiting to see what Miko's gonna send as a next shipment. He sent us 1k woods, and I'm unsure if he's got a shipment on the way or not. Conqueror's just popped a shipment, so by the same logic, Miko should be sending another shipment at the moment. He's got 6 skirmishers in queue, but that's the Falconets coming in. CDB has been ejected from the town centre to body block from the Falconets. A couple of Hussars nearby. Where's the Dragoon support? Dragoon's out of position. 2 Hussars onto one of the Falconets. One of the Falconets here is at risk of going down, but will the Hussars, both Hussars go down before that Falconet's picked up? Falconet volley comes off. 2 skirmishers picked up, and a lot of Hussars there went down for Conqueror and skirmishers. Well, 2 skirmishers as well. I think that Conqueror could have just pushed out a little bit more just to confirm that 1 kill on the Falconet, and 1 Falconet is significantly much less impactful than 2 Falconets. Military populations after that's quite even. I think Conqueror now is... I think he's going to have to wait for his own Falconets or go for a full-on QSR switch. He's just seen this one deer to left side, so he does have tabs where it's extra hunters. No such luck for Miko to the top side. You can see that this extra hunt, which he should have started, has now just been scouted. So Miko has now seen he's got 2 hunts to the northwest of his base. Skirmishers pushing into the west side of Miko's base. 8 skirmisher shipment come up from India bot, so 2 Falconets, 8 skirmishers, nice military shipments to send to defend against a skirmisher Dragoon composition. And I think with these... Oh, this is so nice. Look at this. I saw the church go down previously. He's got 1 priest in queue, and that priest will be there to heal up this Falconet from 20 HP to 200. That is a 200 IQ play, if I do say so. And here we go. The French priest is on the field and should be ready to help out his Falconet. Even getting the line of sight upgrade for his units. That's tech you don't usually see in 1v1 supremacy in the Fortress Age, so it's really nice that Miko has been able to squeeze that in for the time being. Dragoons and skirmishers pushing in onto the left-hand side. Pick up a couple of villagers here. Let's see how many CDBs Miko has lost in this game in total, and that was just 2. Those were the first 2 CDBs of the entire game that Miko's lost, but start counting up these big boats on the water. There is 13 boats down here. That's a significant amount of eco on the water. It would be nice to get the gill nets for these fishing up ships in a little bit while. Two Falconets taking down a house, which is quite nice. You always want to try and house your opponent, especially, well, any civ really knows the house. Maybe not other civs like Japan or Brits. But the one thing that does give to Miko, he does give knowledge that those Falconets on the field. And now that he knows those Falconets in the field, he's moving his own Falconets in and maybe get the first volley off from this Falconet. He's in range, slightly out of range, and has to turn his fire onto the veteran skirmishers here. Falconets themselves return volleys onto the skirmishers. And it looks like these 2 Falconets are just out of each other's range. Dragoon's trying to move in to actually take him off, but having to retreat, and this is actually quite a bloody engagement. Skirmishers and skirmisher Dragoons, and that's a massive volley from India bot. Conqueror is just retreating his Falconets to try and not get picked off. 1 Falconet with only 2 HP remaining. Can Miko win this? Trading Falconets there, but because that was on such low HP, 1 shot onto the low HP, 2nd shot onto the high one, and Miko has won that engagement 1 Falconet to 0, and actually has probably a lead in the skirmisher count. Look at this, 37 skirmishers versus 24. So Miko is quite ahead in this Skirm Dragoon war, and Conqueror has sent himself 3 Cuirassiers, and I think he's looking for a Cuirassier switch to try and catch his opponent off guard. 6 Qs on the field already. It looks like Miko's sent himself Skirm Attack. This is interesting. This is, if you look at Miko's deck, I can say it is 15%, just a 15% HP. He does also have Wilderness Warfare, which is 20% HP for Skirms, so the French do have Skirm Combat, but they do need to send 2 cards for that to kind of pay off, and once those 2 cards come in, they're basically Dutch skirmishers, but slightly more tankier. But I'm not too sure if team range infantry attack is what he wants. He now sends the Wilderness Warfare, so he's basically got Skirm Combat onto these skirmishers, but Conqueror has gone for a cavalry switch of 3 Cuirassiers, and where are the rest of his Cuirassiers? I think they're back in base, trying to be hidden for as long as possible. Units in queue. How many Cuirassiers does he have? Another 2 in queue. So it looks like Conqueror's only out at this point is to go for a full-on Cuir switch and trying to catch Miko out of position. Arsenal going down for Conqueror. Is he going for the Cavalry Couriers? Yes, Cavalry Couriers is on for the Veteran Cuirassiers. 3 Cuirassiers on the field. He may be sending Cav Combat as the next card to try and really buff these units. Cavalry Couriers is only 10% HP, and to spend 300 coin on this upgrade as well as the Arsenal, which is still 250 wood, that's quite a lot of resources to spend on just 10% HP for a couple of units here and there. So may want to be kind of doubling this up with a cavalry combat shipment to get some really tanky cavalry, but skirmishers a little far ahead of the Falconets and Dragoon support. Cuirassiers are starting to advance straight in, and there we go, cavalry combat has just been shipped by Conqueror. Cuirassiers engaged on top of this skirmisher line, but these skirmishers are really tanky actually, and allowing the Dragoons to stay away from the skirmisher fire here and actually just take off his Cuirassiers. All those Cuirassiers have gone down for Conqueror, and now it's a stronger skirmisher army for Miko, and I think Miko's just going to start to push his advantage. And there we go, Conqueror's having to tap out. GG there, so game number 1 going to Miko. That was a really interesting game. Both players finding the extra hunt a little bit later on, but looks like that didn't affect the gameplay too much. Conqueror had 9 Hussars in Miko's base early on, and Miko was defending with just 5 musketeers while he was going for this boat play, and in the end he didn't train too many more fishing boats, but I think he had about 5 there, 9, 11, 15 boats, so a nice extra side eco going on for the French. It's like a town centre in Age 2. It's really nice, this dock, especially if it's on water and it's uncontested by the other player by not having any ships in his shipments, or in his deck, shall I say. Getting to the Fortress Age, Skirm, Goon composition for both players. Early Falconet pop from India after the 1k wood, managing to pick off quite a lot of units, but putting down a church, getting that priest out, healing that Falconet back up, and then those 2 Falconets won the Falcon engagement over here. So had a 1-0 Falconet advantage at the end of that engagement. Skirm combat coming in basically for French, and then once he dealt with the Cuirassier switch from Conqueror by these Dragoons with no upgrades, but these Dragoons were behind the skirmisher line, so the outer fired these skirmishers and Dragoons, let the skirmishers absorb the Cuirassier damage, but that just basically led a healthy number of Dragoons to tear down Conqueror's cavalry. And after investing cavalry couriers and cav combat into these units and falling over, Conqueror had to tap out. Villager population, you see Miko's eco just kind of overtakes Conqueror's due to that fishing play. It's really nice, and you can see that it kind of pays off into the economy, but only really during the Fortress Age. I think it took a while for the ore resources to kind of catch up, but remember, quite a lot of these resources in Age 2 were wood. There was gathering wood at a slower rate, so it's kind of hard to specifically say who was ahead or not, but I think once around about this point here, got to the 3rd age, but then stabilised after 2 minutes, the fishing boats just really paid off then. Finally, military units population. You can see that Miko was behind early Age 3 because he went for 1k wood first. Conqueror had all those 9 Hussars out in the field, but 9 Hussar lead couldn't capitalize on Miko going 1k wood first, and I think once that eco started to take over, he was basically behind, tried to reinforce those QSS, but those QSS fell over very quickly in that engagement, and that was that. Right, let us see. Miko's asking for the next map, and I will check and post back in. I will have to go online just to check that. So ESOC Community, and let us see what the series is these two players would be playing on. So week 1 map. SKG versus Biggs on map pool 2, and where's the map pool? So map pool 2 is Manchuria, Iowa, Bering Strait, Dhaka, and then High Plains. Bering Strait, Dhaka, and High Plains. Ooh, who locks first? SKG locks Civ into game 2. So ESOC Iowa, and this was revamped quite a while ago, but hasn't seen much action in recent ESOC tournaments. Iowa used to have lots of ponds, which led to some very interesting non-standard gameplay. However, since those glory days of Iowa, global warming has happened, and these ponds have now dried up, but we still see the 3 TP trade route across the middle of the map, as well as these 4 native TPs. I believe one of the TPs is Incan. That may be incorrect, but the other one is definitely Lakota. Yeah, so native says Incan and Lakota, so very strong natives on this map. Right, so it looks like Miko has locked India, and as I said earlier today, Miko has been practicing his Indians quite a bit. Conqueror is electing to go for Germany, and I think Germany is a bit of an interesting pick on this map, and for those reasons I will save it once we launch into this game. Welcome back, guys. My name's Harrison. We jump into game number 2 between Miko and Conqueror. Miko won his first game of Manchuria as the French, and because he's playing for the SKGs lock their civilization for game number 2, and Miko has picked himself the Iroquois. Miko spawned into the north side of the map. This is Iowa, and we're seeing this Discovery Age Travar start to move out across the map, getting some scouting information on the left hand side, but both his hunts onto the right. Nice double hunt of bison here, which should be easily picked up for Miko. In contrast, we see Conqueror playing as the Germans to the south side of the map, in the colour of dark blue. Wood starts. These settler wagons are chopping wood to help get that early Age 1 house down, and it's like Conqueror who's dropped down an early Age 1 TP as well. 2 nearby things. I'm happy this map bounce. What has Indiebot come across? He's come across 100 food, but it's not just 100 food, it's 100 food plus the Outlaw Rifleman, so a really nice treasure for Indiebots to pick up there. So, the reason why I was saying in the lobby that I find Conqueror's pick of Germany on this map is a little bit interesting. These coin mines are tin mines. They only have 1,500 coin. So, once you burn through your initial 2 coin mines, which he has one safe, has one really far forward actually, so it might be a bit tricky to gather it if Miko puts on some sort of pressure in early age 2 from any like forward warhut play, which I've seen him do in a few games. But after this coin mine goes, you're out in the map, and you really need to have some sort of military advantage to help kind of secure your map if you wanted to kind of push out for these extra resources. So hopefully Conqueror should have enough resources in base to stabilize in age 3 before pushing out. Indiebot has gone for a trading post in age 1, so he must have... We did see those villagers early age 1 move into this tree to the north side, basically chopped 100 wood worth of wood. Discovered age Travois, putting down a longhouse. He's moved that Travois back to his base, so it's nice, safe and defended in his town centre line of sight. And we do see him now moving on to other treasures, where you see Miko taking down a 70 food treasure very easy thanks to Liz Outlaw Rifleman. So what we can see, Miko has converted himself another outlaw, the Pistolero, but also pick up a native scout, so quite nice for Miko just to see what the German player is up to in relative secrecy. Trading one outlaw for another. This Pistolero is going to survive and still has a 40 attack, so quite nice to try and chase down the German explorer. I think that's what Miko's trying to do. He's kind of hovering around, trying to find where that explorer's gone, but Conqueror's already got his trading post in H1, so it's not really critical what Conqueror does now. He's going to walk right next to this trading post there from Indiebot, so maybe he's wanting to think about going for a second TP. I think that might be a little bit too greedy in this situation. He's already got the market down, and these guys, no techs on the market just yet, so Hunt Dog's coming in, place of mines, enough wood for place of mines, maybe thinking about getting another 25 wood for steel traps, and we might see all his villagers come off the trees now after gathering 100 wood. Forward warhut being dropped down by Miko, and I think Miko is one of his game plans will be to try and contest the middle portion of the map, and that could be through the help of 5 Tomahawks being trained. Tomahawk, big button. Let's have a look at Miko's deck and see what units he has. He has the 7 Aenas, 6 Tomahawks, 4 Canyas, but also has both the coin crates of the 600 coin and the all resources, so options open to Miko, depends on how he wants to play this. Oh, there you go. Iroquois scouting party, tech being researched straight away. 4 Canyas being sent. Units in queue. Has he got any trained units? No, he's basically sent one shipment, called the big button, which costs about 500 food, remember. So it's not free, but not trained anything behind this. Picking up another Iroquois Tomahawk. So we've got this Iroquois Tomahawk being rescued by his buddies. Get the band back together. Should tag along, and looks like Miko's want to put some early pressure into Conqueror's base. In-base barracks from Conqueror. Nice adaptation, but lots of hussars early on, or cavalry units, in Conqueror's base already, and he's had to develop his entire eco. Look at this. No villagers for Conqueror gathering right now. Pistolero with 40 range attack. Obviously won't do too much to these settlers, but can still do a lot of damage to any units coming out from Conqueror, and he's only got 2 pugs in queue because he needs to get another house down. You can see he's trying to throw down a house with 5 settler wagons. I've never seen a 5 settler wagons build a house, but he was trying to get that down before these pikes came out. He's only got 2 pikemen on the field, which is certainly very ineffective versus an army of Tomahawks and Canyas. The Civ rules is there's a Civ reset to 3 games. You can only play your Civ once, win or lose. So we will see 3 different Civs from these guys as a matchup, and then they can play again on game 4 and 5, whichever Civ. 2 Ulans come out from their first shipment of 8 Expos as well, so Conqueror's feeling really pressured, going for 8 Expos instead of going for 700 woods or the 3 Settler Wagon shipments. And now that Miko's seen this, he's going to get a crack shot onto these crossbows and retreat. I think he's going to be quite happy with what he's done so far and pulling his Explorer away with the Canyers. God, this Iroquois Explorer looks so funky, trying to jog after these horsemen. Tomahawks, though, trying to engage this train post. Pistolero has donated himself to scout where these Expos are, and these Tomahawks are about to run away, but not after losing the Pistolero and Tomahawk to these Expos. Behind this, Miko has sent himself 600 wood, so he's got himself down the second TP, dropping it down now. May also just wants to research Stagecoach at the moment, even though that Germany still has one of their TPs out on the map, but he hasn't trained any more units behind this, and Conqueror's really pushing out with his 4 Ulans from the 2 shipments, as well as crossbowmen and pikemans. He's feeling good about his situation, and this is risky play. It only takes Miko to send 6 Tomahawks and train a batch of Tomahawks or Aenas, or send Aenas whatsoever, to try and kind of catch this army out position, but going 600 wood and then the all resources card, I think Conqueror's going to be lucky to escape here. And Miko's Explorer has missed this trading post. This trading post is not completed, and it's going to be scouted at by Conqueror's army. I know that he needed to pull back his hero to help out the combat, but leaving a trading post unconstructed is 4 times weak to these siege units. Luckily for Miko, the pikes are not too interested in this training post. It might still be able to get up, but it will have to try and defend this. But remember, no units were being trained for Miko, and no units being shipped, so Conqueror has the army advantage, and actually he could engage this, but I understand why he's feeling tentative. With a war hut here, it only takes 1 pop of units to kind of crush your army. Looks like we have Canyers in train from the stable at home from Miko. I would like to still see some Tomahawks being trained, because he has seen this large amount of pikemen. Tomahawks can do alright versus crossbows, and then Tomahawks also shred through Ulans. So going for Canyon Horsemen versus this kind of army which Conqueror is starting to amass is slightly questionable. It looks like he's trying to age up to the Fortress Age and has cancelled those extra cavalry units, and that should provide him enough resources to drop down a war hut, maybe a fire pit as well, and maybe buy a bit of wood to get an elite upgrade. But remember, once the Iroquois player goes to the 3rd age, they should have another Travois spawn at the TC, so that could be another building for Miko to use like a war hut. Conqueror himself has now sent 700 coins behind this, gathered up by his settler wagons, and you can see how this... Oh, he's actually been gathering from this North Coin Mine. Herding from Conqueror has been not the most fantastic this game. Quite a lot of his bisons are exposed at the front side, but we do see now Conqueror taking down his forward war hut from Iro, so there's no trading posts down for the Iroquois player, no forward war hut. I think Conqueror now knows that Miko is advancing to the Fortress Age due to how passive the Iroquois player is playing, but you know, Conqueror's going to follow up straight away with the fast age politician. We can see that Miko's not going for messenger age up. What's Miko doing? He's going for the wise woman. So what does he go for in the 2nd age? So he went for the messenger. I've seen Miko play this on one of my recent streams, where he does like the messenger age up to the 2nd age. That way you can get your villager production in nice and early, as well as a really early Canyon shipments off that XP you get in age 1 from that trading post. But now has to have a slow age, which is probably why he dropped this extra war hut and ward, because he knows he has to play defensive until he gets up and gets those crates. Fire pit coming down for Indiabot. Another Travois will come down, so that might be a 2nd war hut to play defensively. And a 4 Ulan raid right side, but all of the eco is in this nice little box here. Fire pit's a bit exposed, but that's only because these trees are in the way blocking it. Conqueror's into the 3rd age now, but it's kind of awkward. He's got all these pikemen and crossbows. If we look at military units, you can see how many units he's basically got. But he's got 11 pikes, 13 crossbows. Having to group crossbows with your skirmishers is a little bit awkward due to the fact that they have the same speed, but the skirmishers drastically outrange the crossbows from 20 to 16. So, and also have an explorer in this group as well. Not slowing his guys down, but having all your ranged infantry grouped in here, and that is slightly awkward, but it's not too bad. We do see Ulan's been pushing out across the map. 3 war wagons, first shipment for Conqueror. He's grouped his pikemen with his war wagons, and if anything, you could even argue you could group your pikemen with your ranged infantry, so the pikes are always close to the skirmishers to protect them. Similar speed for the pikemen to war wagons, 5 and 6, so it shouldn't be too bad there. Do we see the veteran Ulans coming in? No, not just yet, and I would have liked to see the veteran Ulans come in before this engagement happens. Miko is pushing really far left side, and that's because he's gone through his 2 nearby hunts, which spawns over here to start the game, and has to try and work with his hunts to the left-hand side. We do see Tomahawks engaging down these 3 Ulans, and they just melt. Conqueror, please get your veteran Ulans. This is not a drill, this is serious. But, oh, look at this, he's getting 30 vils on coin. He's starting to amass his coin by quite a lot. And what mercenary shipment should we expect from Conqueror? Is he going to go for the Black Riders or Jaegers? And my guess will be Jaegers, because India bot's in the 3rd age and would like to try and mass the Forest Prowlers and Musket Riders, but he's gone for a 6 Kanya Horseman shipment as a second card, so going for Kanya infantry at this point. Slightly different to Musket Riders, but we do see a batch of 5 muskets across the map. Kanya's Musket Riders pushing across the map as well. We'll see all this infantry. Tomahawks feel a little bit awkward now being in the 2nd age and upgrades, especially with these Aenas as well. I guess there's not too many Aenas and Tomahawks to upgrade. Elite Kanya's moved in to try and snare, but remember there's lots of pikemen still here. Conqueror needs to back off, he needs to wait for his mercenary shipment. Minutemen being called, Ulans are still colonial, no upgrade here. Being pinned down by the Kanyas. These guys have to start the fight, but there we go. Hessian Jaegers on the field, and look at this, Conqueror has tried to pick off all the Kanyas he can. Now if it's just Jaegers versus Musket Riders and infantry of Iro, I think this should be going quite well for Conqueror in his base. Looks like Jaegers engaged Musket Riders. Certainly a fight these Musket Riders cannot take. A couple of Ulans still here trying to snare the Iro army, and we still have the range fire of the crossbows, skirmishers and Jaegers taking down what Iro have. He's actually focusing down Big Boy 2.0. So Big Boy is no longer so big and has taken a little rest outside the German player's base. That 13 Jaeger shipment is going to be very difficult for the Euro player to deal with, and we do see 11 skirmishers on the field. How many Jaegers does he have? He has 12 Jaegers still on the field, so he's only lost 1 Jaeger, and after you've lost your power spike with 8 Forest Prowlers, 6 Kanyas, how are you going to deal with this? 5 Kanyas just come in. But look at this, these Jaegers are not afraid of these Forest Prowlers and Aenas. He's just trying to push in, bait the cavalry, but there's about 7 war wagons here, and these Kanyas are going to fall over very quickly to these strong anti-cavalry shipments. 9 Ulans coming in fast across the map, now with a veteran upgrade, so this would be a nice power board, power spike from Conqueror with relatively upgraded cavalry on this predominantly skirmisher-based army. So only a couple of Musket Riders nearby, but that should be enough to try and pull these units away from the war hut. And here we go, war wagons and Ulans just going to try and close the distance down as much as possible. There's only 5 Musket Riders here. Ulans leading the charge first, skirmishers close behind, focusing down the Musket Riders. Now with the war wagon on top of the rest of the Forest Prowlers, a lot of damage per second from the German army here, especially with the Iro having to focus down these Ulans with his infantry line. Germany's still leading the military population, but is having to back off here. Oh, I missed that. We did see Miko dance for his war chief back on the fire pits. I wondered why he was dancing with no war dance on, but he was dancing to revive his explorer and let him rejoin the army. this Iro Warchief is so crucial for your army. Gives them a nice bonus of 10% HP, I believe. Nine. So that German army with many pikes, crossbows, uhlans, skirmishers has now been reduced down to just 9 Jaegers and 9 war wagons. We see quite a lot of the German ecos having to move across the map multiple times. These coin mines only have 1,500. He's already gone through the coin mine, which was about here, as it's got 2 more on the right side. But Miko's pushing out again. He's feeling that he knows what the German ecos. He's basically, his job is to try and go into the mines. We'll have faster cavalry to get away from the war wagons, but where's the infantry? I think the infantry may be a bit caught out here from Miko. We see some nice trading between Conqueror and Miko, try and trade off skirmishers with each other. But I think Miko, the fact that he can easily and readily reinforce his forest prowess, we see that Conqueror has to basically try his best to mass with skirmishers behind this. He now has 7 Jaegers, 12 skirmishers, but 12 skirmishers, 7 Jaegers, I think slightly get outdone by a mass of 29 forest prowlers, but veteran uhlans to the south, veteran uhlans to the north. This is an 8 uhlan shipment, sandwiched both sides. Nice snare on top. This army can't get away, and there's a lot of cavalry here. Only a couple of musket riders, but they're kiting. They're not continuously firing. Look at this, all this damage being done from the German army. It's got the entire skirmisher mass pinned down. Jaegers on top, trying to pick off this war chief. War wagons not being taxed. These guys, 42 damage per shot. There's so much damage here. And Conqueror's done it. He's absolutely demolished the Iro army. India bot types GG. And that is going to be game number 2. So 1-1 after 2 games. What a good game that was. That was a really exciting game, and I think for me, interesting to see how IndiaBot really had Conqueror on the ropes there, having to send 8 crossbows first, lots of idle time, trying to frantically throw up houses with like 5 settler wagons, getting a batch of 2 pikes as their first batch, and if IndiaBot follows up with 7 ANs, 6 tomahawks, as well as training units, he did have a TP down, so that shipment progression in H2 would have gone a bit faster, and I think Miko could have really done a lot of damage in H2, but decided to kind of play for the map, go for 2 training posts, but with no military units else being trained, no way to defend them, and went to the 3rd age with no TPs or stagecoach behind it. Conqueror had protected his training post from the Iroquois tomahawks in early H2 with his crossbow shipments, and that kind of gave Conqueror that XP momentum in the 3rd age, and I think Conqueror was behind when he got to the 3rd age, but slowly came back, specifically with the 13 Jaegers, but then 9 uhlan, 8 uhlans, and how many games have we seen 9 uhlans, 8 uhlans come in multiple times? Let's have a quick look at the villager count. I might spend a little bit more time in here because I've just had a message from Miko saying is ESO down. So hopefully it's not too down. If it is down, hopefully it will come up very, very soon. Villager population, we see Conqueror's 3 settler wagons coming in second card, gives them that eco advantage. But he did have to send the 8 expos first, and we can see this villager idle a few times for Conqueror, specifically here and here, where he's trying to get some units out while being under pressure from Miko's early aggression. And that's just the benefit of what a bit of pressure and aggression can do, is just force your opponent to miss some vills, get some poor batches out, and put them on the back foot. Military population, Conqueror safely aged to the 3rd age of his large, massive units of pikemans, crossbows, a few uhlans, just a pure amalgamation of units. But 3rd age came in, sent his first shipment war wagons, and that was enough to try to trade relatively even with IndiaBot. But what happened? Conqueror pulled Miko into his own base. He was like, "Oh, I'm afraid of your musket riders and forest prowlers." Pulled the Iro army into the German town centre. 13 Jaegers come out, and you can see he basically picks apart Migo's army. Canyons go down to the war wagons, and then the Jaegers pick off a few musket riders, and 9 Uhlans come in, and later 8 Uhlans come in, each of these times taking engagements very soon after that shipment arrives to try and make the most of that shipment, and eventually that snare, or the 8 Uhlans to one side and about 7 or 8 to the other, sandwiched the Iro army. The Iro army couldn't kite, and the whole German army just came down, and just it was a bloodbath. So really well played there from Conqueror. Yes, we do see ESO is down, so hopefully it won't be too long. I may have to restart my program if I'm stuck in this screen for a bit. We see Sompu Konku representing the SKG clan in the chat at the moment. I wonder how Sompu is doing. I wonder how he's feeling watching his comrade of Indiabot get on in this series so far. Good game 1 for Migo, undone by Conqueror's Germans in game 2, so we should have some exciting games to come once ESO comes back up. Classic ESOC chat. After a great game like that, the only thing people are chatting about in the chat today is sours. Some units in the game always divide opinions. Sours, Jaegers, Mamelukes, for example. Spahis. Let's get the trainable Spahis in the chat going. Right, let us restart this game. I think ESO might be still down, but hopefully it won't be too long. Are we able to connect to ESO? It's looking promising. It's not looking as promising as much now, and it's still stuck there. So we may have to find a little bit of extra stuff to keep us tied over in the meantime. Let us have a look at some of the schedules, what's going on. We've only had one game so far this series, and that was the Diaruga versus Kaiser Clan yesterday. And who would have expected a 5-0 victory there for Kaiser? I know that. Well, I'm sure actually many people could have predicted that. Kaiser's been in quite a few of the recent tournaments, well in practice, playing lots of team games at the moment, so I'm sure his macro and actions per minute has certainly been improved, certainly in good form, while Diaruga has made his return to the competitive scene after his last outing at the New World Championships. But Kaiser defeating the New World Champion 5-0 is not probably the best way that the New World Challengers would have wanted to start off their campaign. And today it's the turn of SKG versus the Bigs. So the Somali Kabuli Gaming Company versus the Hudson Bay Bigs. Currently 1-1 after 2 games, and hopefully ESO should be back up. Let's have another check to see if it is. What I like about this tournament is that in quite a lot of other tournaments, it's a very kind of like a tree pyramid. It's a pyramid structure. So you play, you have your round of 64, round of 32, and you could see some good players move all the way to the finals. You could see a few good players being knocked out due to one player being on form. But this kind of league format ensures that most players should be getting about 5 or 6 best of 5, or all 5 games played series, pardon me. So each player in the EPL should be playing around about 25, 30 games, so a lot of gameplay to come, and certainly a lot of content in the near future being pumped out from ESOC community. So make sure you're following on Twitch, Make sure you're following on YouTube, checking onto esocommunity.net for any latest updates, and we have the schedule manager on the homepage there, so you can see where all the latest next tournament games are to be played. And for the time being, it looks like the next game will be between Kevin Italian versus Izad tomorrow at 21:20 GMT, 21 British Summer Time. I think that's 20 GMT, and Kevin's representing the Curious Air Management Company versus Izad from the New World Challengers. Matches are being scheduled all the time. There may be another match to be played tomorrow. There are still a few extra games to be scheduled here and there, so keep a constant eye on the event schedule on the homepage of the ESOC community to keep up the latest of when the next games are to be played. And we have ESO back up, so let us carry on with this series between Miko and IndiaBot online. I think the next game was Bearing Strait, if I remember correctly, and yes, they've already managed to pick this map. So Bearing Strait, it will be Conqueror to pick first, I believe, because India picked last game for the SKGs. Now it will be Conqueror to pick. I'm not actually super familiar with the series that Conqueror plays. Looks like he's going to go for Dutch, which is a similar civ to Germany, but actually Dutch is probably more eco-focused than Germany. Germany's usually very consistent of fast fortress age, and then kind of going for a mixture of skirm, Ulan, skirm, war wagon, but Dutch is more skirm goon civ like a France, so it's kind of in between France and Germany. Miko has picked the British, and I like in Miko's pick here. I think this is a good matchup for the British player, but we'll have to see how this goes on. Yeah, I'm ready to go, and let's get going. So I play a bit of Dutch myself. I probably play more Dutch than I do British. I think anybody can play British. It's not the hardest civ to play. Dutch is a very viewed standard build order, so it should be fairly standard early on. But I feel that the Dutch really struggle if the British player goes for age 2 bowpike, or once the British player goes to the third age, masses, dragoons, longbows, and hussars. I think it's a good combination for the British player against Dutch. Welcome back, guys. We are here for game number 3 between IndiaBot and Conqueror. We had a brief pause due to ESO being down, but fear not, we're back in the lobby, and Conqueror has decided to pick the Dutch on Bearing Strait. He'll be spawning to the top right of the map in the colour red. Miko has decided to counterpick with the British civilization. Will be spawning to the southwest of the map in the colour teal. Teal blends in very well with the ice. Hopefully Conqueror has friend or foe colours on, because otherwise he may not see some raids incoming. Map appears to be relatively balanced for both players. So a few of Conqueror's mines are a little bit out of place. We do have an extra... Oh no, that's IndiaBot's starting mine. That's really far forward. If Conqueror sees where this starting coin is for IndiaBot, that could be something that the Dutch player could put some pressure on, whether that would be Hussar raids in, or maybe a colonial push with Hussars, pikes, maybe Hussar skirm. We'll have to find out. Miko down to the south, working 80 food. Conqueror's picked up a macaque, and this map's filled with macaque treasures. It's either macaques or woods, and we do see 30 coin, a 110 wood by 2 white tigers. A very strong treasure there. A couple of coin treasures here, both 45 coins are nearby. Even more 45 coins than north side. So I'm sure Dutch will be very happy with all these coin treasures. Another coin, another wood. So a lot of small wood and coin treasures in this map. The coin would help Conqueror be able to get villagers in queue, would be able to help that bank in transition, but it looks like Conqueror's gone for a trading post start, so would great start for both players. Conqueror looks like he's gone for the trading post. Did he have much wood to help him out with that? He did, 85 wood there, so instead of having 185 wood in the bank account sitting there, decided to go for an early TP. The Dutch, though, I don't know. I don't think the Dutch really need a trading post. They have so much XP coming from their bank progression, and if you can get that bank in much earlier than usual, then that could be quite beneficial. But I suppose if your bank's in about 10 seconds earlier, it's not the greatest of differences or deals. IndiaBot did pick up that 110 woods to the south, so both players picking up a nice juicy wood treasure. Conqueror's still working on some coin, and he did use a little bit of that coin here to fund up his final villager in age 1. Does have enough resources now to queue up the Asian to second age, and we'll now see quite a lot of these villagers, about 10 of them, go onto the trees to start working away on the wood required to drop down the first bank. Right. That's age 1 sorted out way for both players. Looks like there's quite a lot more treasure being picked up for Conqueror. He does see there's another coin treasure down here, and this will be quite useful for Conk to ensure that he does have... oh, pardon me, he's gone up with 14 vills, and that might be due to the fact that he was didn't have enough resources to keep that 15th, but usually the standard age up is with 15 vills, so 14 is a slightly bit faster, but actually it will delay you getting that bank up slightly, because you will have just that little less extra resources from the time it takes to train that extra settler and that extra settler working in transition. Hopefully it won't idle Conqueror too much, but he does have the coin in bank, so he can train a village straight away into the second age. Miko, Virginia Company, market down, gang sort in already, so lots of houses being thrown down. Managing to squeeze 2 colonial age, discovery age shipments due to this trading post, and we're going to see lots of manor houses coming down. All the villagers are currently on wood, no food in the bank. I have to assume he's got the Philosopher Prince, which will give him that 500 food, and you can see these villagers are patiently waiting for this crate shipment of food. There you go, another Vill being queued up, and that's really, really nice. I like that. That's really slick, just to have all Vills working on woods, getting those manners down, getting the eco pump in, and you're having your food shipment here to start your villager production again. The reason why this matchup is goes well for Britch, I'd say, is because of the Virginia Company boom. You'll see Dutch most likely now wanting to send 700 wood. He does have near enough the resources to go for another bank. Should be dropping that very, very soon. There you go, 4 vills dropping down a bank, forward of the base. I'm expecting to see 700 wood being shipped from Conqueror behind this. There you go, 700. And that should be another bank, a market, a house, and probably a stable in this situation. This is a give you anxiety manor wall if I've ever seen it. Another British player who does like to go for eco-based build, well, semi-eco-based builds, but usually likes to keep all those manors nice, tight, and that may be because recently the kill experience from a manor house was buffed to 81, so you don't want to lose these manors, which would certainly help your opponent's XP shipments. You want to keep it nice and tight. Bank Wagon coming in for card number 2 for Conqueror in the second age. A very standard build here, currently at 4 banks. And I think the Dutch player has a decision to make at this point. Do you make units in the second age to raid, or do you not? And do you send a card like 700 food or 700 coin to help your age up, or will you go for the more greedier 600 wood and essentially just wait for your resources to kind of gather naturally before that age up happens? Barracks coming down for Miko after 700 wood comes in. 700 wood, a really nice shipment for the British player here. And now sending 5 vills when he's basically already at max mana population. Just really making the most of this eco lead he has. Hunting dogs, place of mines, lots of hunt as well in this box. There's just so many resources in this little box area. He could be very happy this, and you can just see in the score of, like, due to the manors and villages, like how I won't go as far as super ahead. You can see that the Dutch eco's keeping up due to the banks. Wow, Conqueror's gone for a 5th bank with no military building going down, and I'm sure he was been running his explorer into the British person's base multiple times, but to go for a 5th bank with your 700 wood and extra wood bought at the market, because you'd only have probably 150 wood left over, so buy 200 wood from the market, drop down your 5th bank and put in stable down the 600 wood. But you can see, because he hasn't been training any units so far this game, he's already got the resources to age, and I think instead of basically putting resources into hussars, he's just put the resources into a 5th bank, which does cost, 350 food and 350 woods, the food, which is very needed to age up. Max greed from both players here, so we may be in for a slightly longer game. Miko starting to wall up his 2nd silver mine. He is aware that his 3rd and 4th mine spawns to the north side of his base, while for Conqueror he wants to push down to the south. That's where his extra coin mines are, and some hunt. There's a hunt nearby to the north side as well, so he does have options to gather food from the north, gather coin from the south. But we had 5 banks as Dutch. Your coin lasts a long time. He still has 1800 coin in his main mining base, so I think Conqueror will be tucked up in his base for a long time still to come yet. So the only shipments being trained by either player in the second age were 5 longbows from Miko, and you don't usually defend hussar raids with 5 longbows. So I think Miko has probably scouted that no pressure was coming from the Dutch player, and just wants to start on his longbow mass. Looks like we do have another 5 longbows in, 4 hussars being queued. We'll be aging up with the adventurer, which will provide him another 7 longbows on age up. So you can just see how this longbow mass is starting to kick in, and these units are great versus skirmishers and reuters, which is the main bread and butter composition of the Dutch. We can see 5 skirms, 5 reuters, first units out for the Dutch player here, and Conqueror feels that he can go for 1,000 wood. 1,000 wood, a very nice shipment, but in this situation, you already have the barracks, you already have the stables, you have 5 banks. Unless he wants to go for something like a artillery foundry, where you'll need extra wood for the foundations, wood for the falconets, and then wood for the houses. I think Conqueror, you made a good decision here if you're going for the artillery foundry, but you need that 1k wood. And you can see actually behind this, now that Conqueror's gone, he needs to take this explorer. He cannot let this explorer see this foundry. Come on, Conqueror, you need to do this. And I think that's been scouted now by IndiaBot, so Conqueror, that may cost you that surprise factor. He's already got 1 falconet in queue, 1,000 coin coming in behind this, so 1,000 wood, 1,000 coin for cannon production. But now that Miko has seen this, he may go to falconets himself. He may go down his own artillery foundry for culverins. But a second stable here with a 5 hussar shipment, card number 1. You don't usually see the British player going for 5 hussars, card number 1, and even has 4 hussars as well. Wow, that's interesting. I don't usually see many British players with both the 4 hussars, 5 hussars, and it's chosen to include 4 hussars instead of musketeer combat. That is quite a big card to leave out, but in this matchup, musketeers not the greatest, because Conqueror is basically massing skirmishers, a couple of falcons and reuters. This is what longbows really like to deal with, is the skirmishers, reuters, and then you have the extra cavalry supports of the British player to deal with the falconets. Conqueror making an excellent point in chat. Miko has kept all his manners very close. Nice defensive shell to kind of protect him for a very defensive, greedy FF, but not a lot of line of sight, but also lots of walking time for Vils having to move on to extra resources. These 7 Vils are going for a little stroll to the north, but there's a lot of villagers nearby which will have to soon push out into other resources. Right, here we go though. Falconets are starting to work the way on this small wood pit up by Miko, but that has actually built the British player in quite a lot of time, but this gate has basically given away to Conqueror, but Miko's pushing out. He's pushing out with Cav Combat Hussars, Vet Hussars just come in. Conqueror will not be aware that Cav Combat and Vet Hussars in. He did see the Cavalry Colonial Age push out, but actually, now that he's properly engaged, he's committed for the Falconets, but a lot of Reuters here dealing down these Hussars, but that just leaves this longbow mass to work away on these Reuters. Overall, equal trade there, I believe. Those Falconets did a lot of work, and Reuters picked off a lot of those Hussars. Probably about 10 to 15 have already gone down. Yeah, 10 Hussars from India bot, 5 trained, 5 shipped. But let's look at reinforcements. How is that coming along? 8 longbows, double longbow production from Miko. 5 Hussars just been produced. So reinforcing quite nicely. Conqueror is also going for Hussar production now. But does he have the veteran Hussars? That will be the question. 5 Hussar shipment comes out from Conqueror as well. Yes, he does have the veteran Hussars, so both players having Cav Combat and Veterancy on their Hussar units. In terms of military units, though, I think Miko has the military advantage. He does have... no, he only has 5 Hussars, 9 Dragoons, and Conqueror has 10 Hussars, 30 Reuters, and with the Cav Combat, that should be a nice strong army to deal with what Miko's pushing out with. More Dragoons on the way for Indiabot, double pumping 8 Dragoons, but these are out a little bit out of position. Look at this cavalry mass about to slam in. I think these Hussars just want to full on engage. Let the Reuters deal with the Hussars, and there's so many Reuters here. These Hussars can go down very quickly with good micro. Skirmishers working on the back against the Dragoons, and now it's just longbows in the face of Reuters and Hussars. A few of them have to go into hand combat, and that is not what longbows want to do. Reuters now probably switching their targets onto the Dragoons. Skirmishers still moving out. What do we have in queue? This is critical at this point. We have Reuters and Skirmishers and Conqueror, more longbows and Dragoons, and he's lost his entire longbow mass. That was the end result of that, and Conqueror he was behind in score. He's now firmly in the lead, starting to push out some extra resources now, starting to move to the other coin mines to the south and hunts to the north. But once his eco is re-established, that should be enough for him to continue unit production. I'm not too sure about this from Miko. You've only just... Yeah, okay. He was pushing out with a few longbows to try and keep Conqueror around. That was because he had that 10 longbow shipment coming in, and he even managed to squeeze in the yeoman behind us, which gives these guys an extra 4 range, I believe, so 26 range in total. He's even got infantry breastplate down as well. Miko's gone for lots of upgrade cards early on this mass, early on this game, instead of working on his unit mass. So he's having to replenish his units from the ground up, but already has the military population lead against Conqueror. Skirmishers versus longbows, skirmishers without the infantry combat. Reuters engaged with the Dragoons. I think that's going to be a Reuter favoured matchup there, but does Miko have ranged cavalry Caracol? He does not just yet, so I think Miko will be looking to include that in the very near future. Reuters moving to the south, and yes, he's seen this dead animal. A couple of villagers nearby, but they do have their greatcoats on, and look at all these Reuters, do not even one-shot a villager. No villager gone down just yet, and that's buying enough time for the longbows and Dragoons to move around to the north side to try and cut Conqueror off. I think Conqueror needs to watch out where his positioning is. What happens if 2 Falconets pop out from the town centre? We do have a batch of 6 Hussars moving in. not too sure if Miko really wants to snare this down too much. He's already lost most of his hussars due to the Reuters. There's just be dragoons and longbows, but I guess these longbows very, very, very good versus Reuters and skirmishers. But reinforcing hussars, God, this game's back and forth for both players. It was Miko having some hussars and losing them. Now Conqueror's moving in with the hussars. These longbows are away from the town centre and reinforcing the unit production, so Miko's at risk of losing lots of units here. Falconet's been coming up now. Hopefully we have many dragoons being made from Miko to cover these falconets, because these falconets will essentially deal with Conqueror's infantry army. Miko's starting to run out of hunts, so look at this, he's really fast to the north on his at the front of his base. A neutral hunt and coin mines to the far north. Obviously this hunt's down to the south he was knocked off of. He does have the military lead just about, but the Dutch player now has infantry combat behind this, so heavily upgraded longbows, upgraded skirmishers. There's more upgrades still to come for Conqueror though. We'll have to see how it plans out. I'm really looking forward to some more Hussar production from both players. I think Hussars is that one key unit, which essentially is a make or break situation. Could be able to break apart enemy armies, like we saw in this area here beforehand. 2 falconets though from the British player did get a good volley on these skirmishers, but a couple of skirms, not too big of a deal. He's just pulling back his skirmishers now. Could be time to get a culvery now actually from Conqueror, and he's going for 2 falconets of his own. So 3 falconets, he managed to get the 3rd one out, and what beats 2 falconets? 3 falconets of course, and I think he has enough skirmishers and Reuters here to kind of scare away the dragoons from pushing onto the falconets. This is going to be really nice, look at this volley coming in. Couple of falconets, looks like going to be a falcon ward here, trying to push in, and Conqueror is renowned for his falcon micro there. Look at that, one falcon going down, as well as like 3 or 4 longbows. Second volley come off, both falconets down, and all 3 falconets from Conqueror still on the field, available to him to carry on this game. Miko having to send refrigeration now as his next card. Does have a few vills working on the mill. No mill upgrade just yet, but only 6 mill gatherers here. It's nice. It's a nice upgrade to have, but actually it's not as many. It's not as impactful as an upgrade as maybe 8 vills is at the moment. In the long game, yes, refrigeration great, but at the moment 8 vills would have been a better shipment from India bot, I would believe at this point, especially as you got this army pushing down on you. You just need stuff gathering for you straight away, which could be more vills on wood, which means more mills, more food. Because refrigeration at the moment is only helping his food income, but he's only got 17 vills on him at the moment. But he needs culverins to deal with his 3 falconets. You cannot deal with falconets with longbows. Falconets unpacking. Can they get a volley off from the longbows? I think they're just about at the range. But 3 longbows moving forwards, that should get a volley off from the falconets, but they decide not to. Conqueror should notice though, Miko's out his base and all these vills are just moving to the far north. Look how many vills are here as well. That's going to be such a good pickup. If Conqueror can deny that coin mine, he should be in a very nice position. But he's slowly pushing onto the base of Miko, deciding to focus on infrastructure instead of villagers. I'm not too sure about this one from Conqueror. If you can deny gathering, you basically deny any army production instead of just taking down the stables yourself. Another reinforcement batch of dragoons, quite far away from any Dutch reinforcements. Miko has now thrown down an artillery foundry. It's somewhere on the map. It's being built right as we speak. It's topside. But it might be a while before culverins come out. Big raid topside. Conqueror has started to slowly move himself onto the coin mines, and now once he's realised there's so many villagers here on the coin mine, he's starting to push across. But look how he's keeping his falconets behind his skirmishers and Reuters. He's not leaving his falconets out in the open. He's keeping a very close eye. He now knows that there's artillery foundry, and you know, you've got 2 culverins in queue, but culverins going to pop out underneath this army. This is This is a real smart play from Conqueror. He's not allowing this artillery to come out and deal with falconets. Once those culprits are picked up, there you go, culprits on the field now, unpacking, getting a volley straight off into the falconets. These falconets are still in the range of the culprits though, as there's so many units trying to deal with these tanky artillery pieces, but he actually allows the dragoons just to walk in and waltz in and snipe off the remaining falconets, and this game is back on its head again. I think Miko's starting to have the advantage again. This is a really close game for game number 3. Possible big raids to the north side here. We do see Conqueror starting to move the north side. He will see quite a few of these vills gathering the hunts. A lot of skirmishes here to deal with, but he's gone for the coffee trade, so he's gone extra banks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is there a 7th bank nearby? Let's have a quick look for eco units very, very briefly. He does have 7 banks, so he's got all 7 banks available for him at the moment, working, gathering coin. And that's actually pushing his eco slightly ahead of British player at the moment. Miko has currently lost 16 vills at this point. Certainly a lot of villagers to lose at this point. He has followed up with 8 vills behind this, so 8 vills refrigeration or refrigeration 8 vills. That probably doesn't matter too much. Should be starting to work away on extra mills being produced, but he's only got 1 mill down being produced at the moment. He's still got a couple of hunts going, but soon will be completely out of food. Here we go, Vardagelder's out on the field for the Dutch player. That's where the 7th bank was. This is a very, very peculiar placement for a bank, but they got so much HP. I'm not too sure India bot will be able to siege that any point soon. Big raid south side. Dragoons moving onto these coin vills, and these guys do have their great coats, so it shouldn't be too bad. We have Fuming Blue, subscribe to ESOC, thank you very much. Longbow mass now, moving on to these skirmishes, so longbows engaged with the skirmishes again. Nice cav mass though, look at all these hussars. Just enough dragoons, but no ranged cavalry caracol still. Raiders have the ranged cavalry caracol, but these units don't. Okay, Vardagelder's right on top of the longbows, 64 hand attack. Longbows, 123 HP, so this is a 2-hit kill from these Vardagelders and longbows. Really nice unit here, specifically. And the Reuters are just moving on to the Dragoons. Dragoons having to stay by to try and protect their longbows, but you can see Miko has basically just surrendered his longbow mass to the Dutch cavalry. And these guys are just eating these units up for breakfast. A few skirmishes nearby, still trying to protect this. A couple of longbows as well, but now that all the Dragoons are down, this is giving Conqueror the green lights to go pure Hussar production now. And GG, what a game that was for game number 3. Really, really entertaining, so back and forth. So we saw some really greedy builds from both players. Virginia Company coming out from Miko. Lots of manners in base, and we just saw about 30 or 40 vills gathering in this little box in Age 2. Conqueror going for a 5-bank naked FF, with the wood for the 5th bank being bought from the market, I believe. 200 wood was probably bought from the market to go for the 5th bank even before 600 wood came in. And then that wood there was able to go for stable, barracks, couple of houses. 1k wood for the early artillery foundry. And yeah, India bot he may have seen that early foundry come down for the Dutch player, but was very late in the artillery foundry himself. But I think I think once he picked off the initial batch of falconets, he was quite happy with that. But another 3 came out later on, and that really caused Miko a lot of troubles. Well, that was so back and forth, so many engagements all across the map there. Let's have a quick look at the villager count. Obviously, lots of villagers there for the British player. A few lapses in villager production, nothing too significant, specifically because natural resources were starting to run out. Had to replace a raid with 8 villager shipments. But even the Dutch vill production was just closing in, 46 versus 63 towards the end. And especially then with the Dutch having 7 banks, Dutch was definitely in the eco lead, and you can kind of see how Dutch players started to overtake all resources, and this difference was only going to grow at that point. And military population ended with a nice fight for Conqueror, but the graph suggests it looks all right. But I think if you look on the map, there's still a few more hussars on this batch of longbows. They're going down. Nice batch of raiters. Not going to really be able to deal with that. No goons on the field for India bot, more longbows, so you can just go for double stable production at this point. So I think it's a good time for Miko to resign at that point. And just see a couple of these early engagements. Not too bad fight for Dutch here to kind of trade off his units with the British player there, and then more of an equal trade there, possibly British favoured. They may have had a bit better eco at that point than reinforced, relatively even, but just see it's just even trades throughout. And only started once that 3 Falconet push came in to get a little bit of an advantage, but then eventually was able to win it with the Vowed Gelders and Hussar switch. Really good game there, really good game. Hope everyone's enjoying the second match of the EPL2. There's about 15 scheduled matches per week, so there's still lots of content to be enjoyed, and we still have another 2 games today. Hopefully those 2 games coming up should be as equally entertaining as the first 3 we've had. So far, it's been a really, really entertaining series. Miko to pick now because he's part of the SKG clan. They need to pick their civ for game number 4. Miko is going Portuguese, and we thought the last couple of games were quite long games, about 20-minute games, 25 minutes. We may be in for a longer one. Miko going for the Portuguese on a water map, middle pond as well as the South Sea, and if the game goes super late, got these 4 little ponds to the north side as well. That could be an interesting place to build some frigates and monitors. Wall off that front section, town centre on that initial bridge area, and on the coast could be a nice defensive place. Lots of berries, lots of hunt as well to start off with. It's like a 10, 12 deers and 3 elephants to start off with, so high resource map in all accounts, so lots of strategies available here. Conqueror himself is going for the British, another civ which does well at sea, but also has some good land options with the longbows we saw last game. Really upgradable cavalry as well. Could even go musketeers here, but I think this is going to be a high eco, long drawn out game unless both players kind of go heads up, send in stuff like 6 musketeers. Let's have a look at IndiaBot's deck quickly, actually. See what we're dealing with. Nice name of the home city there, Boring Walls. Maybe that gives us an idea how he wants to play, and he's got a specific a 1v1 Dhaka defense and standard. Easily be able to scout that by opponent. And look at this Dhaka defense, depending on what matchup it is. Looks like he may actually want to go for some water play. ATP as well. There are 4 train posts on the north side, as well as the native one, which gives you your berry upgrade, colonial militia as expected, 2 caravels, fish upgrade, and combat ships, 3 caravels and the frigate, so 2 shipments in age 3. I like that a lot. No gunpowder attack or HP in the 2nd and 3rd age. Dragoon combat, gunpowder combat as well. So yeah, nice deck, and then a more of a Dhaka's defensive and Dhaka standard. Looks like the standard is even more water play. Look at this. We have advanced dock, no schooners, gunpowder infantry attack, HP. Oh, this is going to be exciting times. Good luck, have fun to both players, and we should see what Miko has got planned for this. It was his pick on Dhaka. He knows he had to pick on Dhaka, so I'm sure those 2 decks he's been preparing for this. And let's see what Miko's been doing. Welcome back, guys. We are joined for game number 4 of a Play All 5 series between Conqueror and IndiaBot. IndiaBot, aka Miko, has spawned in on the right side of Dhaka, playing as the Portuguese in his favourite colour teal. His opponent, Conqueror999, is playing as the British civilization. The score is currently 2-1 to Conqueror, and Conqueror did manage to win the last game on Bering Strait. That was a Dutch versus British game, really well played from both players, really good game. But now Conqueror is playing as the British, so using Miko's Civ from last game in this game. Early markets, early manor house as well. Market's quite nice in this map. There's lots of coin treasures, if you notice. I think it's like lots of 50 or 40 coin. All mine here. There's a 80 wood hereby, but there's quite a few of these coin treasures. We see 100 food. There you go. There's a 50 coin, and there's a XP. Maybe another one. Conqueror, for the start off, he's moved his explorer straight to the north side of the map, and basically he's here to pick up all the yaks as possible. And both civs only have one explorer, so nice to get there first. Might want to keep his yaks close together though, because IndiaBot's coming in for the yak steal. This is going to be quite not planned, but he's going to walk away with 3 yaks here. He's got another one. It's so nice from Miko. He's going to be like, oh, thank you very much. Saves me after scouting, and Conqueror will be a bit annoyed that he's lost control of 3 yaks as easy as that. Hunting dogs coming for Conqueror. No coin mine from this player, so it does suggest he got himself a nice coin treasure early on in the game, and Conqueror 2 bearded treasures of 40 coin, 20 coin was enough to get him his hunting dogs upgrade, and managed to spend the rest of his wood on a market and the manor house there. What's Miko doing in comparison? He's gone for himself a house, gone for an early training post as well, so starting to work on the TP line, sending his yaks back, and has gone straight for the advanced training post. Let's see what deck he's gone for, whether it's defensive or standard. He's gone for his Dhaka standard and advanced training post, advanced dock, no schooners, but look at this. He's omitted 3 caravels this time. Does have 2 caravels, combats, crates, bows to defend, no musketeer shipments, but a few more upgrades than before, even having space for rendering plans as well. So nice deck there from Miko. Treasure contention here for 80 wood. Let's see who's going to get it. Conqueror's engaging it, and looks like Miko took the final shot into the tiger. He waited until Conqueror had dealt with the tiger to about low. Get the HP around about 30, 25, and then Miko came in for that final shot. He had calculated it, he took the shot and went for the treasure steal straight away. But that 80 wood, look at this. He's already chopped 40 wood, he's going for his second TP already. This is huge from Miko, and this should help him try and get as many TPs as possible. I think Conqueror realises what's going on. He's seen that IndiaBot could have sent shipments like advanced training post instead of Eco Theory, and look at this. It's going to be a fight. Who wants to put the wood down? Actually, Conqueror is building houses back and has allowed Miko to go for that training post. He could have not built those manor houses in base and could have got this training post under control, but I think he's going to run frantically to this training post because he could not let Portuguese have a 4-0 advantage here. Stopping by for a 50 coin treasure, and I think it's just going to give Miko the full trading post contention. 3 vills sent for Conqueror. No Virginia company from Conqueror this game. Let's see Conqueror's deck and what he's thinking of. So exotic hardwoods as a eco card in age 1. 2 caravels, 1 frigate, no water eco upgrade cards. Quite a upgrade heavy deck with longbows, musketeers, cavalry, 2 musketeer cards here, and advanced arsenal. We're going to see some super musketeers, it looks like, this game. Nice early wall coming in from Miko, but you need to herd in these elephants. These are your starting elephants. These are very important units to have. 1,000 food in each. But look at this. ATP, currently at 3,250 HP, is also working his way on to the Bhakti Temple, which, if you have a look at, provides some Tiger Claw damage. Probably won't be needed too much this game. Cavalry, light infantry, and infantry attack, so that's quite nice as well. But more specifically, it's going to be vegetarianism. That's quite a tough word, that is. 100 wood, 100 coin, 40% gathering on the berries. Town centre, next to this berry bush already. Miko is just going for full map control, and look at his line of sight. He's starting to see lots of different points in the map. He's got the town centre, which we built here, trading post. Pikes are going to start working there when there's trading post, but 5 pikes won't be enough. We do have a explorer as well. Mr. Gork and your mum is having a little bit of a scouting to see what's going on. He's actually going to work with the trading post to take down his pikeman. I think this pikeman is now in cover mode, so nice play from Conqueror to delay it, but actually when you have both the explorer and the trading post working, it might not be enough. Indiabot has started working on the sea already, and all those early TPs has given him enough XP to go 700 wood, 600 wood straight away. He's got the stagecoach in, he's got 2 town centres. Conqueror's gone 700 wood. A couple pikes out, but I think he's just letting Portuguese do Portuguese things at the moment. He's trying his hardest to take down his trading post, and this could have been averted if he went for the TP in transition instead of lots of manor houses. Miko is feeling confident in his position, going for rendering plant next card to help his fishing eco. Not many boats at this stage though, so we'll need to really drive production of his fishing fleet. Got another 4 boats in queue to try help that going, but at the moment that card's not really helping too much, but will come in very, very soon.
I may not steer.
5 bows being trained from this barracks on the northern TC, and Miko is regaining it, so he's defended from Conqueror. Really getting back onto this trading post line straight away, and Conqueror needs to do something, and this is exactly what he's going to be doing. 8 pike trying to get some damage on the trading post in queue. Oh my god, that trading post was just completed just before those torches hit the building. Not much damage there was taken. Conqueror will be a bit disappointed with that one. I absolutely love this map, but I think at the moment, I think Miko has really read this map very well. He hasn't needed to send a caravel shipment to the middle pond yet, and he's done that. He's moved his Water City flag into the middle. Maybe this is just anticipating. Maybe he had a spare bit of APM capacity, but we could see 2 caravels moving in, and that would help defend these 2 train posts, defend any aggression across the middle points. And he knows that the only way for Conqueror to go into Miko's base is via this choke point here, or choke point to the south. I suppose he can push into this northern town centre here. So caravels here may not be able to defend the northern side, but could be an interesting shipments. But doesn't look like he needs to send any caravel shipments just yet, because doesn't need to, and is going to happily age up to the 3rd age now behind this. Conqueror has missed out on steel traps, and I think this may be just a miss macro, or just forgetting not having steel traps on 28 villagers, all on hunts. That is going to hurt the British eco by quite a bit, and hopefully as soon as Conqueror notices it, he rectifies it as soon as possible. But I have a feeling we got to that point of that game where market upgrades is probably at the back of your mind. We may not see that come in contrary though, look at Indiabot. He's starting to work on vegetarianism now, not going for steel traps, because he knows he can just sit on these berry bushes once he has that tech involved. TC to the north side, I think he just wants to sit right here between this 5k coin mine and all these berries. He's moving into the hunts and coin mine, and there's just so many resources on this map. It's such a high resource map. Conqueror's finally started to get a foothold onto the trading route, and that was basically because India had to kind of back off a little bit while aging to the 3rd age. This has now allowed Conqueror to move in onto this trading post and should level the trading posts up 2 all, but if we go to recalculate the economic population, it shouldn't change too much because all these populations are 1 equal, and the stagecoach upgrades are not included. We're starting to see fishing boats being produced and even getting the gill nets in, and I like this. In terms of military units or eco units, it's got 13 boats now, so it's a nice number to get the gill nets upgrade. Plus 15% for both food and coin, and when you have 15% on 13, it's better than training another 2. Well, maybe like a 1 actually, because there's no schooners being sent, so gill nets researched at the same time as a RE normal fishing ship, I believe, so nice upgrade there. If we look at the full-on map though, we do have lots of more whales to be gathering, and I'd actually like to see Indiabot work on his whales a little bit more. He's got that vegetarianism card helping out. Frigate was sent a little while ago into Middle Ponds to defend, and was used to take down the trading post. I think all the infantry from Conqueror has been a little bit away from Middle Pond. There's no need to engage, but now there's a frigate in the Middle Pond. Indiabot is feeling comfortable pushing out because he's got a safe passage and retreat into the Santo Antonio. Conqueror advancing up himself. We do see flag in the Middle Pond here. Is he going up with the Admiral of the Ocean Sea? Let us see. See, can I get it? 2 caravels timed with the Admiral Ocean Age up. This could be 3 caravels versus 1 frigate, and the 3 caravels are going to win this. We'll be losing 1 caravel for this point, but should be a nice cleanup here for Conqueror. At least having 2 more boats on the sea. Another caravel joining the action on the sea here. All of Indiabot's army being cleaned up by the longbows because they have nowhere to retreat. He's walled himself to the south, can't get into this boat, and the frigate has gone down. Exciting stuff. These caravels can now work on the trading posts from range quite comfortably, and who knows, we may even see a frigate come in behind this, but probably not need to at this point. But never mind, look at this Miko. Long lines and the industrial age behind this, so he's focused on eco, he's focusing on fishing production, he's going to the 4th age, he's happy with his position, and so he should be. He's got lots of eco, he's still got decent map control behind this, but he's also forced Conqueror to go really heavy on the infantry to try and keep control of this middle portion of the map. 5 Dragoons on the field for Indiabot, and actually, you know what? I think Conqueror's in a not too bad position. Like, I would have liked to see schooners squeezed in really at some point for Indiabot, just to try and get that cheaper boats and also fast production. You know, at this point you could have like 20, 25, 30 boats, and there's not much eco down here. Does have all the eco upgrades as he would, but look at his army mass from Conqueror. It's kind of just starting to grow, not being challenged. We see 2 Organ guns from the north town centre. Covered wagon spawns to the north side. That could get picked up by the longbows. He's got to be careful about that. Managing to retreat it. Probably dropping it here, because he's already dropped that TC on the right side. Artillery Foundry down. What does he have in queue? Conqueror himself going up to the fourth age now. Minutemen being called, trying to pick off these falconets while they're next to the town centre, but maybe because of Miko's good eco, Minutemen not too expensive. Organ guns coming in though to try and pick it off, and we'll pick off 1 of the falconets before the falconet shoots. We'll get a second volley, and look at that. Oh, heavy cannons! Oh my god, look at this! Heavy cannons onto the infantry, get a nice volley, and 4 musketeers going down there. But what happened was Miko uses Minutemen to kind of distract the falconets from Conqueror, and then came in behind with those organ guns to deal with the falconets. Should be enough siege now to deal with the caravels. Needs to unpack them quickly though. Wow, these heavy cannons 2-shot a caravel very easily. 600 damage per shot versus a boat, quite a lot. Organ guns didn't do too much versus the boats though. Slightly underwhelming then. Factory now starting to come in from Miko, and it looks like we're getting to that kind of later portion of the game with both players soon to be and will be in the fourth age, shipping units like the factory. But where's that factory gone? Where would you build it? He's just built it randomly in the centre here, but you know, enough away from the coast to keep it protected. Use all the fishing, well, the fishes on the right side. Now has 4 on this whale as well. But he's not over committed on the fishing boats. I think that's just basically because he doesn't really want to over defend to the south as well. I think he'd be quite happy just to try and defend this middle pond and his north side aggression. Pushing in with cannons, 2 heavies, 2 organ guns into his predominantly longbow based army. Needs to try and keep those dragoons somewhat protected though. I don't feel lead them first into longbow mass is the smartest idea, but I guess keep the longbows interested and the cannons can take their shots. But 3 culverins from Conqueror. Great cannon micro from Conqueror. These culverins, 3 shots. Heavy cannons, I believe. They don't 2-shot it, but 3 shots. The second volley comes in, and this organ gun was lucky to get out of the way of those bouncing shots. This is anybody's game. This is so even at this point. Scores just Miko slightly ahead, but the momentum's with Conqueror at this point. Culverins moving out now into the 4th age. 8 villagers sent, full mana populations, and a nice strong age 4 units, possibly with the guard goons, red coats, guard longbows. Trying to see how this moves on. But at the moment, IndiaBot does have both the factories down, so should be able to wrestle a bit of an eco advantage at the moment. Let's see what he's going. He's got coin gathered in, unupgraded though at the moment. May want to go into some wood actually at this point. Water power. That is the wood upgrade. So he's getting the wood upgrade first, and once the once that's been selected, yeah, he's going to go into wood now. If both his guys onto wood, that will provide him his wood eco. He does have access to another whale down here, and I think he really should go into this 3rd whale because this is infinite. Units won't have to move, but also then prolongs the life of the rest of the fishes in the pond as well. You don't have infinite amount of coin mines available, but actually going for amalgamation, he does have this nice 5k coin mine as well, and amalgamation coming in is a really nice tech at this point. Actually, it's still so much coin available. He's even got his starting coin mine not even being used up yet. Here we go, Robber Barons in for Conqueror at this point. So Conk himself is going for the factories. Where has he put his factories? This is like a snap position. Both players kind of chopping it in the same place, and you know, great minds think alike. Both players pretty experienced with what monitors can do and how far they can fire, but monitor range is reduced in EP patch. Why has Conk got his deck to deal in late Age 4? He doesn't have the 2 monitors, doesn't have ship combat. He basically has to fight us with units at this point, I feel. I don't think he can go middle dock. I mean, it would be nice if he could go middle dock. Maybe at some point he needs to kind of test the South Sea as well, because you can't just leave these fishing boats with rendering plans and long lines to gather for free. Whoa, culverins. Sit down castles with only 105 HP. Even these culverins are anti-infantry. Okay, culverins trying to take down other culverins. Once those units go down, there's free pickings on the organ guns, but not really enough longbows and upgraded units here. The dragoons are just pushing in. We have Genitors, ranged cavalry, Caracol, and the guard upgrade pushing in for the IndiaBot, but still needs the Dragoon combat card in Age 3 as well. 20% HP in attack, and that would really make these units super scary. Final shot from the mortar does pick off this town centre, so that's nice at least. But these units should pick off these veteran musketeers relatively easily. These dragoons now with 18 range should easily pick all these guys off, and I think Miko's got stronger units at this point. We've only just got guard goons in for Conqueror, but guard goons with no cavalry caracol, no cavalry combat in behind versus these upgraded dragoons. Dragoons of the Portuguese player, certainly much more scary, and he's actually having to work his way onto these villages on the berries as well. The Dragoon spam is real at this point. Okay, guard longbow's in at the moment, but Dragoon combat in behind this. 41 attack range, 18 range itself, and these rockets being one-shotted as well. Nice bit of HP tank, but fundamentally you only get one volley off. And I think Miko just wants to back off. He's put some pressure on for Conqueror, but he knows he's got the good eco behind this. He doesn't have to overcommit at this point. Still only having so many boats, he does have the population space available, and now he's got factories both on wood. I think he could even get a few frigates out in the South Pond as well, and just put some pressure on these infrastructure. Maybe get a couple of monitors out into this town centre, artillery foundry. There is options for Conqueror, let's say. Okay, now that it's gone longbows, with the yeoman card being sent as well, I think he needs to think about not overcommitting sometimes, but he's got 3 organ guns behind. Even Gunner's Quadrant coming in, but that's just line of sight. Very good versus infantry, but needs to get into range first. But these Dragoons are soloing in it, and it looks like... Oh, nice. Look at that split up micro there, and 3 Carls coming out to take down these organ guns. 2 shots in these organ guns, but it looks like having to trade these pieces off very equal. 3 organs to 3 Colbs. Not many longbows in base remain to take on his Dragoons, and I think Miko is just really pushing his advantage now, pushing into the British player's base, and gets the GG from Conqueror. 2-all after game 4. You can see how Miko has 2 decks built specifically for this map. He was prepared, and I think he must have theory crafted that, you know, berry bushes with a 40% gather rate increase is probably like, it's similar to hunting dogs. Hunting dogs is steel traps is 0.84 times by 1.3, while the berries would be like 0.67 times by 1.4. So the numbers are close. Certainly with the berry upgrade, these villagers are gathering food from the berries much faster than normal villagers with hunting dogs, which I fear, that may have been what Conqueror was doing for most of the game, for missing out on the steel traps. Interesting play in the centre. Conqueror timing 2 caravels with the Admiral of the Ocean Sea age up to take down the frigate, but the frigate was useful to recontrol get more control of the trading post and force Conk's army back away from this vital area. South Sea uncontested from Conqueror. Be very hard to contest both the TP line and the sea. Who says that TP is overpowered for the water players if you can control both the TPs and the water? I think Miko basically got to the 4th age before these factories started to really kick in, and all that wood production from the factories, even before the coin was then sent to income, was enough to get the guard goon upgrade, as well as the range cavalry caracal housing and all the other stuff, even getting in the 5 population treasure which spawned, I think, about here. So nice. Let's look at villager population. See, India was behind for quite a while. While Conqueror was going for the mana boom, Miko had 4 TP stagecoach at this point, but then just started to kind of grow due to the town centres and fishing boats, and ended up with a fish eco population of 111, and that's not even including the factories. So Miko rolling in resources, and we can see just how divergent these lines are. Just the rate of income for Miko is so much better than Conqueror at this point. So if the game didn't end at that point, it would have ended 5 minutes later when just Conqueror just would not be able to keep up. Military population is hard to kind of decipher because lots of the fights were engaged in the town centres, trading posts and ships. But I think Conqueror tried his best to get a footing on the stagecoach line, but couldn't really get total control over it. In the meantime, Portuguese doing port things, spamming villagers from 3 town centres and fortress age, fishing boats, and then towards the end, just much more upgraded units, trading very, very well, and even behind a better eco could just easily reinforce. Miko having 5 trading posts down by 5 minutes 20, 4 TPs and 1 native TP. Very, very strong there for Miko. Be very happy with how his build went and was executed. Right. Just look at all his hunt just not being used from Miko because he just doesn't need to use the berries and his fishing boats. Just so much resources, but he just doesn't need all of them. Very good play. Yeah, it's better than so that vegan upgrade is better than hunting dogs on hunts, but also you don't have that walking time or idle time, so it's just a continuous income of food, and that continuity is just so important. Obviously, Civs had reset, so Injibot is free to play. Aero, French, Brit again. Looks like Amigo's going for a Brit for game number 5. Has Conk got himself a deck specified for high planes? 1v1 ATP. Ooh, native treaties in as well. Maybe that was something he had in mind for the Iowa, but could be used in higher planes. Obviously, now in EP8, native trading posts also give a little bit of XP as well. ATP no nat, so whoever choice basically wants whether he wants to go for native treaties, no native treaties. Also ATP 6 Musk, going Victor Sui style here, having 6 Musketeers in deck. I think Conk's got ideas up his sleeve. We'll have to see which deck he's going to pick. I think which deck he does pick will give you a very good indication of what he wants to do. But I suppose this deck itself has 8 bows and 6 musketeers, so hard to say. Migo is going to Spain. Choosing to go Spain instead of Brit into ports, but I guess because on 5 TP ATP map that High Plains offers, this is a good choice. Right, guys, let us get into game number 5. Let's have a quick check of the map. 1-2, 1-2 in base, nearby, side. I'm happy with the map balance here. So, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We're into the final game of a Play All 5 series between Conqueror and India-bots. This is obviously for the EPL number 2, week 1 between SKG and the Bigs. Currently 2-2 after 5 games, and last game was a great game on Dhaka. And Conqueror is now going to be playing Portuguese, which Miko was playing last game. So we did see Conqueror playing and picking the Portuguese this map specifically. And he's been spawning into the southwest of the map in the colour blue. Miko counter-picking with the Spanish spawning into the top right. And coin crate for both players. Looks like both players dropping down early markets. Would be very useful to pick up extra beaver treasures and then buy some wood as needed. 60 food for Indiabot coming in. What's Conqueror doing? He's working his way on a grizzly treasure, having to take one grizzly mano here, while the other grizzly is kind of wandering in between. And I think Conqueror knows that he's just outside that range and waiting for that bear to come in nearby, waiting to go back so he can kind of creep it. He's going to creep it really nicely. Aggro's it a little bit there. I was worried that he's going to actually shoot it outside the circle and have to reset, but I think with this HP, he can just about take this Grizzly on. He did get quite a few shots on, but he'll be very, very low afterwards. And actually, is this a good play for Conqueror if you're going ATP? Obviously, you can't complain about a CDB at 1 minute 40 in the game, but low HP, especially he's playing against the Spanish. The Spanish have war dogs. War dogs can really put the pressure and pain onto this Portuguese explorer. and we'll probably have to see what deck Conqueror wants to go for, whether this is going to be ATP first card or not. Looks like Conqueror is working away on a 50 wood treasure. Would be very nice to help him get control on the TP line, but he's playing with fire. He's only got 51 HP, and if a Coyote is not going to kill him, a Spanish War Dog probably would. And even get an attack off there, losing 9 HP, and when you've only got 51 HP, losing 9 is significant. First shipment coming in for India Bots, Spanish player, 3 settlers as standard, but the Spanish have a fast XP gather rate. They should be able to squeeze in a second Age 1 shipment, and that is probably going to be the Advanced Trading Post, which has just come in now. Conqueror also looking to send his first shipment. He's already sent 1 shipment in Age 1. It won't be a Colonial Militia, I don't think. Most likely not be Economic Theory. He probably also is going for the Advanced TP, so Advanced Trading Post mirror from both players. Both civs very appreciative of having Advanced Trading Post card being sent, especially in the 5 TP map, but CDB was trying to put Trading Post this side, but we'll have to move into post number 2, and if India Bot wants more control, he needs to send villagers out. Okay, 1 dog working his way, and here we go. The dog's found this Explorer. This train post is going up, but that Explorer is sitting back down. So 1 train post up for Conqueror. So close to being denied as well. But that should allow the Explorer to get into the middle one, unless Conk sends another Vill out to try and resuscitate. Okay, this will be resuscitated on the age up due to the line of sight from the train post. This Vill is unaware that this one's being gathered by this villager, and dogs ensuring that this middle one is protected. So the Spanish is going to lead the ATP wars 3-2. $500 food age up from the Portuguese player. Interesting. I think the Portuguese player may have thought he would have got enough wood in transition for all the TPs he'd wanted, and then the 500 food will help the villager production and maybe early age up possibly. Oh, this is nice for how we got the Spanish player in the central and the far positions, while Conqueror is in the 2nd and 4th slot. It's kind of a nice artistic symmetrical style, but actually these train posts, specifically this train post, would be quite risky for Conqueror. That could be picked off by the Spanish army quite easily. The same goes for Indiebot's middle TP here. So these two probably more at risk, given that Conqueror is put a town centre on his one of his trading posts. We see the Explorer moving down into the Cheyenne settlement, and let's have a look. What deck did Conqueror bring to the party? Okay, he didn't bring his native deck, so I think this is his ATP no nat deck, both 6 Musketeer and 8 Expos, but we'll go for Cheyenne's. Cheyenne provides that hunt bonus, as well as probably giving Conqueror the extra bit of XP and making them full use of that advanced trading post shipment. Into your bot. Oh my god, he's... Okay, phew. His Explorer went down while fighting those 2 Renegados, but the dog was here to finish up that unit, and the villager picked up that 95 wood treasure. Really nice at this point. No player is actually having the will, shall I say, is in a polite words, to upgrade this route to Stagecoach, because once that is upgraded to Stagecoach, it's upgraded for the other player as well, and both players will be benefiting from Stagecoach. Indiebot going ATP 5 Vil, 700 coin, so lots of eco behind this, and I have seen other games on high planes where a high eco in the second age may lead to a revolt, possibly. Let's have a quick look at Migo's deck. He's got double Rod cards, double Lancer card, all of 4 Lance upgrades, Fort and Spanish Gold. Not enough evidence to suggest a revolt is on the mind, but with hand cavalry hit points and cavalry combat, as well as obviously cavalry hand attack, upgraded Imperial Hussars are absolutely amazing. He does have unction as well, so lots of possibilities for Migo here. Conqueror is aging up to the 3rd age behind us. Both players going to 3rd age. No military being trained, so just like previous games of no military in the 2nd age, and maybe Russian in Age of Empires 3 has gone out of favour, because we haven't seen much early aggressions in either matchups for these two players. Stable coming down in transition, and Colonial Militia being sent for Conqueror. I think he's just aware that he's going pure Eco FF, no military units. This is just a shipment he can send in meantime, because he does have lots of experience coming in from the trading post, and he may have another shipment on the queue already, so it won't slow down his Fortress Age shipment progression too much. But still, squeezing Colonial Militia in could have sent a more forward-thinking card in the Fortress Age, like going into 8 cast or 5 goon combat in a 3, or maybe getting a couple of crate cards in there first. Look at this India bot, 2 shipments in queue before he gets to the 3rd age, so could he have even sent 4-vil? He doesn't have 4-vil, does he? No, he's only got the 2 crates, 5 vils behind us. Maybe Unction, maybe. I think it's just saving for the industrial, for the Fortress Age. But looking at India bots units in queue and kind of resources, it doesn't look like he's going to be jumping any ages soon, so he's going to stay in the Fortress Age for a little bit. 6 rods being trained, 5 rods already trained beforehand, and lots of dogs. Picking up another settler here, has a pick in now. He will have now seen that there's a Colonial Militia being sent, and I think Miko will be happy that he's seen actually Colonial Militia. Okay, Hussars from the scout age up. Caught his castles out of position. Rods reinforcing to try and deal with the Hussars. There's going to be even more rods as well. These Hussars, they're going for the town centre, and letting the Rodaleras deal with the Hussars. These rods, though, they don't have too much siege actually, and these Hussars have 20 siege. I think this town centre is going up, and if those Hussars actually engage the Hussars here with the rods, he could have cleaned up the entire Hussars, cleaned up the 5 casses, and would have saved a few units as well. So, caught in a rock and a hard place there, in 2 minds of what he wanted to do, and decided to go for the town centre, which he failed to get. Spanish card, gold, first card for Conqueror, so should have a lot of coin incoming for the next foreseeable future. He does have a market down. He does have steel traps. No placer mines yet, but probably won't need placer mines now with the Spanish gold income. 10 skirms in queue, so it's going to be a skirm Rodalero composition opening up for Miko. And actually, Falconets as well. Coin sent forward, but the Falconets are really important. But he needs the rods and the skirms to fight. Unpack Falconets. One's unpacked, one's in limbo mode. It's just about. I think there's enough HP remain on this Falconet. This Falconet has a 75% range assist. I think maybe this could be another good play for Miko to go for another church and get a priest out, considering he has lots of coin income. Churches only cost 100 wood, so you can just buy a church and then get that priest in queue ASAP. These Falconets, though, are so important for the Spanish player if he wants to try fight this out in the 3rd age. Good points from players in the chat. Cassette saying Spanish gold suggests, or 2 racks suggest Spanish gold. That was called correctly. Bramble suggesting CMs be very good because Spanish wants to be aggressing in this matchup if they're staying in 3rd age, and that's exactly what we see here. And the CM town centre is starting to pick off this one Falconet, and when one Falconet goes down, there's only going to be 1 remaining, and actually this town centre will be staying alive twice as long now as a result, and just gives enough time for Conqueror to kind of get the 3 TC eco going. Obviously train Vils into this town centre, but these guys will be hunting out. Cheyenne Tech could be researched and sent somewhere. Has he even researched that yet? Oh, okay, Colonial Militia being sent from the forward town centre, and Dragoons starting to come in. These men need to stand and fight, I think. Probably don't need to guide too much. And Organ Guns coming out. There's only 1 more Falconet. Falconet can't one-shot these Organ Guns. That Falconet goes down. Can he get another volley on these tightly packed skirmishers? This would be huge if he can. No, skirmishers just outside of range, but having to fight with these Minutemen, this would be a very good trade for Conqueror. And now with the Organ Guns out in the field, I think Conqueror's in a good position. Lots of infantry mass behind us for Miko. Miko really needs to do something different and maybe go for a stable play Lancers. Migo's gone for 1,000 wood, 9 rods, 8 rodoleros. He does not have infantry hand combat in his deck though, so that's probably the card he traded out for the 1 fort wagon. But here we go, rodoleros moving to the north side. Organ guns engaging with the skirmishers, lots of skirmishers going down, but rods swinging in really fast. Second batch of Minutemen being brought from the town centre. Where are the castors? There's hardly any castors here for Conqueror. What's he doing? Where are the reinforcements? Looks like he's basically training pure dragoons, but you know, Migo's going infantry. There's no cavalry on the field for Miko at the moment. Castors is what he needs to do to fend away these rodoleros. Let's have a quick look at text completed. Both players working with steel traps here. Vet rods coming in for the Spanish player. And no Cheyenne hunting grounds. That was what I was looking for to see if that's been researched yet. Obviously, don't need to research it just yet. The Portuguese player still has good access to lots of hunts, but quite cheap upgrades at this point, really. TP is still on level 1 though, so nobody's upgraded it yet. Nobody feels comfortable enough to upgrade it yet. Maybe Miko might upgrade it now that he's got a 3-to-1 advantage and the military advantage as well. Phil's returning back into the town centre, but nicely done for Conqueror, repairing it, full HP. And damn, this Spanish eco with the steel traps, Spanish gold, 2 barracks as well as 9 rods, 8 rod shipments behind this. Really strong mass from the Spanish player. The Spanish Civ been getting a bit of love recently and is in a really strong place at the moment, it feels like. India bot could even go for Unction next card. Doesn't have to go too aggressive with maybe hand cav combat or another shipments like hand cav combat or caballeros. Probably shouldn't be sending 4 lancers at all, but I think Unction would be a really nice card at this point. Either Unction or okay, the fort probably not a great idea. It's a good idea. I'm not too sure how effective it would be, but just imagine having Unction on top of these rodoleros and skirmishers. That would really help. These skirmishers trade very well with this Castador and dragoon-based army that Conqueror is working with. Mameluke's being popped onto the skirmishers. Rodoleros straight in to try and reinforce 13 times by 3.5 versus these hand cav. But more importantly, Rodoleros having a huge 40% range resist here. Mamelukes are not going to be able to take down too many Rodoleros. Skirmishers should be focusing down. And the fort comes in. The fort's been sent, but it's not being built just yet. He basically needs to fully win this fight for that to be safe. No more Minutemen from this town centre. Can this town centre snipe the fort wagon, actually? It doesn't have any range resist, it's siege resist. So 2 shots from the town centre of 135 should take it down. But I think the town centre is destined to fall, and so are the 12 vills inside. And actually, I have no idea how to protect the vills and deny the force at the same time. You can probably only do one or the other. Looks like he's going to try and fight for the vills. Dragoons on top, but it's Mameluke Dragoon versus Skirmisher Rodolero, and Rodolero Skirm win this composition quite well. Indiabot, I think, is just going to back out, actually. He doesn't need to push the advantage. He's got a fort coming up, and with a fort, he can upgrade to the stagecoach because he has nice control over this area of the map and to the north. I think he's just going to play it a little bit more slow at this point. Well, once the Mamelukes go down, actually, what does Conqueror have on the field? It's interesting to see. Okay, 8 reinforcing Castadors should be enough to deal with quite a lot of these Rodoleros. And actually, once enough Rodoleros go down, another reinforced match of 5 to the south. There's not a lot of actual anti-cavalry here support from Miko, so these skirmishers are at risk, and there's still 3 Mams on the field. Having to send 4 Lancers to reinforce at this point, and 4 Lancers isn't a great long-term shipment. Maybe that's how much Miko feels he's under pressure at the moment. I suppose if you deal with the Dragoons, Lancers will clean up the Castors for sure. 2 hit KO as well. 60 multiply for hit versus Castors. You know what? It's still hard to call. Look at Conqueror's eco. 63 Vil pop behind this. Rising strong. Does have 1 TP still, but he's able to reinforce so well. Look at all these Dragoons coming out. Miko's shipment is slowing down, and that 4 Lancer shipment could have been an upgrade card at this point. So those 4 Lancers are already gone. And now it's just a couple of skirms. No Rodaleros fighting this Dragoon mass. And it only just needs a batch of Hussars to come in and swing this for the Portuguese player. 2 Hussars in queue as well, so 2 stables, maybe 1 stable working on the veterancy tech. Tech's being researched. I place the mines at the moment. Completed. Nope, no cavalry upgrade for the Hussars just yet. But that fort's been up now, but it hasn't actually shot a single shot. It's like Miko's gone aggressive with her fort, but actually is fighting in front of it instead of fighting with it. So maybe something to think about. And even sending 7 Rodaleros, which is a shipment from the second age, and I guess he needs the mass to protect his skirmishers and try and keep his pressure up. But at this point, the colonial age shipment does feel slightly awkward. But look at this Hussar mass starting to build. Still colonial age, but I think he actually wants to. He's looking to engage. He's got Castors available into the Rodaleros, Dragoon support as well. Minutemen being called, big Minutemen batch. This is the second colonial militia tier batch from the TC, and the Spanish army is running with its tail between its legs. Like literally, look at the dogs, tail between its legs. I'm still waiting for that unction card, but I think Miko now has traded off so many times that his actually mass is starting to be a little bit small and actually now has to commit to more units instead of upgrades. I think it's Conqueror with his Portuguese ecos sitting quite well. Skirmisher mass in Conqueror's base. No units in queue for Conqueror right now. 1 Castor, 1 Hussar, maybe second 2 Hussars, double Hussar pump. Well, that remains to be seen. Okay, 1 Hussar in queue because the other Hussar have been upgraded. Stables upgraded into veteran Hussars, and once veterancy comes in and Dragoon combat being shipped as next card has to be. He's already gone through the coin, Castors, Mams, Goons. It's going to be Goon combat. Very strong power spike for the Portuguese, and EP8, who said that the Portuguese were weak? I think the Portuguese are on track to take 2 games in this Play All 5 series. 2 Hussar raids to the north side. Nice raid actually onto these Spanish villagers. Villagers should be well enough to take on these 2 Hussars, but should be enough to distract the Spanish eco or Spanish player a little bit. Okay, Stagecoach has come in though, so the Spanish player does have the Spanish had the income advantage of this training posts, as well as still having the Spanish gold. But look at this, he's having to send hand infantry hit points instead of hand infantry combat because he has caballeros in his deck, as well as a fort in A3 and 4 Lancers. Okay, 4 Lancers is a good card. Either 4 Lancers or 5 Hussars is a good shipment to have. These Minutemen on 1 HP should just try and kite these away. No need to take too much damage from these guys. He's just going to run back to the fort, and this could be actually starting to get drawn out because the Spanish player has successfully remassed his army, and there's no way you can really push this army underneath the fort. Why is it with these 2 guys? It's always slightly longer games into the 20th minute again. Castors trading off with the skirmishers, both units no upgrades. Veteran Hussars moving in with the cavalry combat. Rodaleros are trying to pull these skirmishers, and I think you can pull the skirmishers with the Rodaleros, but you have these dogs awkwardly slowing down the rods. So just imagine if the dogs were somewhere else, these rods could pull the skirmishers to safety. So that could be a high level play to think about for other players in EPL, is using rods to pull, but these war dogs at slightly slower speed. Conqueror, 1.2k in food, so lots of food to pump out more Castors and Hussars, and units in queue. 6 Hussars, trading post here on the Comanche for some upgrades, Arsenal, and 5 Castors as well, so lots of units being pumped out. 5 Castors and a 6 Hussar batch, very nice. Okay, there's the Cheyenne hunting grounds, lots of bisons near your first TC, very, very nice. I still think it's anybody's game. It's still, it feels Portuguese favoured, but it's only Portuguese favoured until he runs out of map and hunts. the Spanish player can just send Unction card and actually be in a real strong military position. Sending hand cav HP feels a little bit underwhelming. You do have the arsenal for infantry breastplates as well, so that's a non-carded option to upgrade your infantry HP. Does have the church now, units in queue, no auction just yet. Maybe shipping it his next card. He does have a card to be sent right now. He's just sent it, so he may have been sending something like hand cav combat, but has decided, hang on a minute, no, I want this card. There you go, 5 missionaries in queue, and it's not like this army needs to be healed up too much, so it's very evident that Unction's on its way. Yeah, we're across that great series it's been so far. I've lucky to pick this one up. Look at this, okay, Comanche horse breeding. I believe this is a Cav HP upgrade. Cav HP upgrade by 10%. 10% speed as well. Comanche Mustangs, that's a good card to have. These, he's guessing it now. These Dragoons will be around about 8 speeds, 8.2 possibly. 8.1 certainly can run around and run the Spanish player quite ragged. You know, Rod's still only having that 6 speed. He doesn't have the advanced arsenal in his deck as well, so he's gone for 4 cavalry shipments, but he's going for an infantry playstyle. It's a shame when things like that really hurt your play. Okay, the entire Portuguese army is wheeled around to try and catch these villagers, but I think he's in a bad place. He's in between an outpost, a fort. Unctions will be coming in very, very, very soon if it's not in already. And soon we have Unction boosted army behind this, and that cavalry is just getting out of that fort very quickly. These castles feel that they may be traps, but if you can get rid of if you can trade off the castles for lots of eco, it won't be too bad. Unction should be very, very soon. Where are the donkeys? Okay, there's 5 donkeys there. 5 more out, and that card should be popping very, very soon. Where is it? Castles engaged in skirmishes, but want to pull back. I think Conqueror needs artillery actually at this point. There's so many skirmishes and rodelleros that it feels risky pushing in with veteran hussars, although these are beastly units, 500 HP, 40 attack. But now that Unction comes in, he can see Unctions in due to these circular radius underneath these skirmishers, and let's have a quick look at these stats. 27 hand attack for these ranged attack for these skirmishers. These guys have 20 hand attack as well. Really nice boost there for these units. That town centre is not going up for the Portuguese player, and the Portuguese player is running out of map. Conqueror has to do something fast. He needs to change some sort of strategy up, because there's no way he can trade skirmishers with Castadors now with the Unction boost. Hussars trying to bait the rodelleros further. Gunpowder infantry attack in, and counter infantry rifling coming in very soon, so rodelleros will forward very quickly to Castadors, but that still leaves the skirmass to deal with the Castadors. You see how these rodelleros melt the cavalry. Like, these hussars will be here just trying to keep the rodelleros out front and interested. Now these guys are in cover mode, absorbing quite a bit of damage. There's still 3 going down there. But you've traded rodelleros for hussars, but you now have no hussars to deal with the skirmishers. Do you have a reinforcing batch of hussars? No, you got reinforcing batches of mills. 2 mills going down. Where's that second mill? Mill coming down. Plantation coming down as well. Oh no, this is a bad time for this to happen, isn't it? Obviously this is ESOC Patch, there's no Lakota, it's just the Cheyenne and Comanche on its map, so no Lakota shipments. I think Conqueror's starting to run out of steam at this point. Oh, hang on a minute though, 96 eco versus 40. I know we did see lots of villagers going down the middle part of the map here, and to the west hand side as well. Miko losing 17 vills and still on a single... Okay, he's now just got a second town centre, but guarding no resources though. Oh, I see that comment, Brown Boy. 4 Hussar raid is starting to move across the map, and I think Conqueror is now feeling quite comfortable. You can see the score lead Conqueror has. I think he feels that now he's transitioned to mill. He has no mill upgrades yet. He's got bookkeeping, which is only 10% on your plantations, and it's very expensive for just 10%. 300 food, 300 wood. But he really needs those food upgrades. Oh, he got 3 plantations. Wow. Log Flume's very nice to have in behind us, but no mill upgrades. Maybe it's too many upgrade cards here for the mill upgrade to show. But I hope he does have it in queue, and he doesn't have refrigeration or royal mints. He has 1k food instead, and that would be the one shipment you would change out for refrigeration. Organ Gun's finally been produced by Conqueror to help do his infantry mass, and Unction helps with your attack, but does not provide any HP bonuses at all, and these skirmishers still melt like any other infantry unit versus artillery. A low skirmisher mass here. I think this castle's still safe to start pushing out. Missionaries do tank a lot of damage, trying to force the Spanish player back to his fort, and now that Conk's up to 100 vil pop, I feel that Conk needs to start trading off when he can. He's transitioned purely into mills, and no, still no mill upgrade. 4 Hussars being trained in from Conqueror, and was any Hussar raids up to the north side? I think those Hussars being picked off. Lots of goons going down there due to the unction boosted skirmishers and Fort Confederation or Confederation. And another plantation, the 4th plantation going down for Conqueror, and I think Conqueror may actually want to think about going to that point in the game when you start actually putting some walls down on your left side, on your right flank as well. Control Shift F. There's another hunt here on the map which could be picked up. Be very nice. You do still have steel traps, so 5 vils could happily gather from that for the next 10 minutes, I'd assume. Castle still engaging with the skirmishers. Hussars moving in. The Spanish players remass, and these units are still too strong to really engage this. And you know, Mill's been out front of your base feels really awkward. Like it really feels like you need like an outpost, a wall. 6 castles, 2 hussars, maybe artillery in the way. I think India bot realizes his eco is down with his opponent, and just feels that he can't push in. And GG has been called. What an epic series that was, and Conqueror is going to win that one 3-2, which in other tournaments I would say Conqueror is into the next round, but in this tournament Conqueror has earned his team 3 points, but Miko still takes 2 points for the SKG behind this. So Hudson Bay Biggs currently leads in SKG 3-2, essentially honours even after the first round, unlike the Kaiser Diaruga series, which was 5-0. Lots of things to talk about. Early trading post contention of how the villagers fought over for each trading post. Remember how Conqueror lost a lot of HP on his Explorer for the CDB treasure? That really hindered his opportunity to go for 3 or maybe 4 TPs in the middle of the map. Trading post was nice. I eat my words, Colonial Militia was a good card in the end. Certainly lots of TC fire from this TC in the middle, and that kind of bought enough time for Conqueror to get eco behind from his other 2 TCs and then just mass up. India bot going 9 rods, 8 rods, 5 Lancer, 4 Lancer, 7 rods. The 4 Lancer and 7 Rodolero shipments were somewhat questionable. I feel at that stage of the game, a couple of upgrade cards would be nicer. And just imagine if Unction had come in at an earlier point, maybe had a stronger army for India bots. And then fort was shipped. Lots of villagers picked off for Miko in the middle there, so Conqueror picked off lots of Miko villagers. This fort controlled a lot of the ground, but actually wasn't really engaged in any combat as such. It picked off quite a few units here and there, but it locked off the map, but only locked off this quarry mine. Quite a lot of hunts on the left side still being gathered until the Spanish player was pushing this side, and by that point the mills came up. Once Portuguese at 100 population, 4 plantations down in the end, maybe 5 as 4 plantations and 5 mills, 4 plantations, the rest of those on wood. But eco was just too good, and a couple of nice organ gun batches as well really helped Conqueror keep trading equally with the Spanish player, but had that better eco. I feel that it wasn't fully over at that point. Just needed a really nice engagement from India, but with his Rodoleros on the Hussars and Dragoons. But I think he realised that his eco behind us was somewhat lacking, ran out of hunts only a couple mills and just not enough resources to fully transition into a mill plantation game. So last game there going for Conqueror. Let's have a quick look at some of the graphs. Very brief look. Villager population, Conqueror exploding ahead. Relatively equal. Okay, relatively eco was in check for about the first 20 minutes, but after the 20th minute, you just lots of more villas being pumped out, 2 at a time, continuously, while the Spanish player was losing a few villas on a single town centre, and only got that second town centre late in the game there. All resources starting to accelerate away for Conqueror, and I think Conqueror just showing his late game playstyle ability. Once he gets late into the game, is pretty good. So good pickup there for the Bigs. Military population slightly ahead for Conqueror towards the middle part, but you can see when Unction came in, they were trending equally. No, when wasn't in. When you see when Unction came in, Conqueror is trading with Indiabot, but Conqueror had much more military, but just couldn't break that advantage because these units were super strong. And just imagine if Unction came in earlier, you'd have a more even military population, and then you just crush those fights a little bit better. Train posts equal to start off with, 2 TPs for Conqueror, 3 for Miko, plus the native for Conqueror there, and then Miko did get near enough full control of the TP line, 4-1, but by that point, the Portuguese eco was kicking in behind this. Just so many shipments from the Spanish player. Look at this, having, by the time he gets to the Fortress Age, 8 shipments. So he sent 2 in the first age, 4 in the second age, and then 2 straight away in the Fortress Age, and just so many more shipments afterwards. But yeah, no, really excellent game and excellent series. That just tees up the EPL 2 really, really nicely.